Welcome to 50 Shades of Blue podcast with Sharon K. Griffin, aka Madam Butterfly, where we have authentic conversations with ordinary people, experts, influencers, regarding love, life, dating, relationships, spirituality, and more. Our goal is to provide thought-provoking information and perspectives to enhance your knowledge and understanding. This show is not for the faint at heart, but we want you to return next week. So grab your favorite drink and join us on an unexpected journey of self-discovery. Men, you're welcome too. Record only. Am I recording? Yes.
Yes.
Hey, beetles and butterflies. This is your girl, Sharon K. Griffin, aka Madam Butterfly. Yes, baby. I hope that you are flapping your wings today all around the globe. Okay. So I have an amazing guest here today. His name is Andre Peredis. That's the Spanish way. And he's going to tell you more about himself. And then we're going to dive into this great, salacious conversation. Andre.
Yes. Good morning. It's still morning here, so good morning to you. And I'm excited about us having a conversation. We're going to roll. We're going to throw down. We're going to throw down here.
I'm so excited.
I can feel it. I can feel it. You're feisty. I'm feisty. Just look out. Here goes.
I love it already. So come on, tell my audience about yourself because you're this super amazing, dope gentleman. So come on now.
All right. Well, all right. Introduction. My name is Andre Peredis. I'm a relationship coach. I'm an NLP coach. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. This is what I use to help my clients with releasing the trauma of their past, their childhood, their bad past relationship. I always say I can't get anybody in a healthy relationship until we clean up your crap. We have to get the luggage, the baggage from childhood and all the bad relationships that whatever. So NLP, I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. Woo! And what that means is, in my world, especially with men and women, the communication, like in a nutshell, when a man is speaking, you're not hearing what I'm saying. And when a woman is speaking, I'm not hearing what you're saying because we actually have two different filters in how we speak and listen. So it's a huge collision that happens in men and women, misunderstanding, miscommunicating, and so that's a huge part of my work. I mean, it applies to all relationship, but the love dynamic is so much more. What's the word? There's so much more to a love dynamic, right? There's more expectations, more assumptions, more he should be, she should be, right? There's more juice on it, and so when these collide, right? And we don't know. We think they're crazy. We think there's something wrong with them. Why you make that's not what I said. Why are you making that stuff up? And for her, she's like, you don't care. Anyway. So communication is a huge deal between men and women. I'm also an ordained minister, so some of my clients, I know. So this is not a part-time gig for me. This is my full-time job. That's how I pay for my mortgage and the cars. And some of my clients, they're all over the world. Some of them, I marry them myself. So last summer, I flew to Texas to marry a couple that I was working with. She was single, unable to get a man, got herself a man. A year later, he got on one knee. And she's like, you're going to put us together. We're together because of you. So I was flown to Texas for that wedding. And a month prior, I was in Las Vegas for the same thing. So the ultimate honor, like the cherry on the sundae of my life, is I get to help people. I get to, help alleviate the pain, the confusion in relationships, men, women, men, women. By the way, it's the exact same thing. It's not a gender thing. It's not a straight people thing. It's all relationships have a frame. The people who last 30 years, 35 years, a lifetime together, gay, straight, or lesbian, all do the same thing. and we now know what it is. So it's like you take gender out of it because it's interesting. So it can confirm everything. Anyway, so that's my work. That's my
Mm-hmm.
work, and my job is to really kind of in a culture where boss babe is popular and you don't need no man. Well, how's that going to work if you keep shouting you don't need no man, or you don't
Right.
trust men, or you
So,
don't trust men, right?
so
So
Andre, I gotta go back. I gotta go
yeah, yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
Let's
Bring it,
rewind.
bring it.
So you're an ordained minister, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So technically, I used to be an ordained minister or preacher or pastor, whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
consider it,
Okay,
in the Christian church. Now I am ordained under Life Church,
okay.
which is more of an open community.
Yep. So am I.
Oh, under
Yep.
Life Church.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay,
It's called the Freedom. Oh my God, I'm blanking. It's actually look at my certificate,
okay.
but it's an open. What do you call it? You just said it. Like it's an open
Community.
community. Yeah, absolutely. So
So, with some people, you would actually get in trouble, right? Based on your thinking, man, man, woman, woman, woman,
no.
man. Yeah, like all of that, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, do you ever have to defend yourself? Because I have to defend myself to the people that knew me. Does that make sense?
Uh huh. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And
Like you
because,
changed. Like you changed.
yeah, because I've
Right.
changed, I
Like
transitioned, I've grown.
right. What's wrong with
Right?
you? Yeah. No.
And
What?
now
Yeah.
it's like, well, who are you? And I'm like, well, who the fuck are you? Because I'm living in my truth. No, I'm
Yeah.
living in
Yeah.
my truth, and you're living a lie because I know you.
Right. Right.
Makes
Well, I
sense.
mean, like I said, human beings are really it's not smart, but that's how human beings are. What I mean by
Yeah.
that is that you believe something and you'll defend it to the death, even if you've not researched it, or you're just like, that's
Yes.
what you believe. That's my mother told me. And we defend it to the death, whether it makes sense or not, right? So that's
We do.
okay. So
It's
my thing is always you be you, I'll be me, and if you can't let me be me, then get away from me. Like
yeah,
back off, because
absolutely.
I know who I am. I know how I got here. I know what I'm up to. I'm a loving guy who wants to help everyone. So if you think I'm misogynistic and I want to put women back barefoot and pregnant, well, you're an idiot. That's never what I say. But they
Hmm.
try to take me there, right? You're misogynistic. You hate women. I'm like, I love women. You moron. Stop
So I
talking.
have a question. Why do
Yeah,
people think that you're misogynistic?
because I talk about classic traditional roles because that's
Okay.
what works best. Like I talked about, like all the relationships, men, women, and everything else in between that's mixed up, right? There's a frame. There's a frame that is more that's lined up with nature. Everything I
Hmm.
teach is
Hmm.
nature, science, and psychology. It's not my opinion,
Okay.
right? And so what's natural is a yin yang of a man and a woman energetically, right? Masculine and
Hmm.
feminine energy. Again,
Yeah.
regardless of gender, there's a yin yang natural flow. Everything in nature is polarized. Everything in nature is polarized.
I
Everything that
agree.
grows, multiplies in the animal planet, in a plant world, there's a yin yang, there's a masculine and feminine, there's a black, right? And so that's the polarity that creates life, that pulls everything together. But
Hmm.
we, as human, we decided that that's like old school, so we're going to flatten out, we're going to go 50-50. We're going to make women equalize to men. Now it's good for money and business, that works, right?
Hmm.
Opportunities, and that was always the original plan. But now I transgress into this thing that women should be more like men, to be good women, go girl, boss babe, make some money, be independent. Okay,
Hmm.
whatever,
Hmm.
sure, good for you,
But
right?
it's keeping
But
them
then
single.
I know that's my world. On the other side, we teach men that they're toxic. They need to shut up. Don't push on women. Right? Be sweet, sensitive, vulnerable. Be in touch
Oh,
with
I
your
hate it.
feelings. That's your girlfriend. That's not a man, right? So that's never gonna
I
work.
can't stand it, to
But
be
that's what I'm.
honest.
uh,
And when you were talking, I was
yeah.
like, he doesn't know that I really agree with him.
Well, I want to say this. People who are thinkers get there with me.
Uh-huh,
And if
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
I mean, and my favorite thing to do is to like get challenged by a feminist who
Okay.
wants to just hate me, and you're misogynistic and you're trying to put, and I'm like, no, 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 not at all, not
Okay.
even a little bit, not even a little bit. Don't put words in my mouth that I didn't say, right? I'm talking
Right.
about traditional values line up with nature that works in a new modern way. So, and then I'll go into, think of it this way: boop, 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 right? And they want to hate me, and they go, huh,
They can
you
hate you.
know, no, and they go, I never thought about it like this before. Again,
You know,
because I teach nature, it resonates even with a hardcore, right? So again, thinkers who actually have the courage to ask the questions and listen, be able to dialogue things, different opinion, different point of view, right? If you have a brain and you're a thinker and you could exchange with people, you might learn some really good shit. And
yeah,
that's what I'm
and
up to.
that's
That's what I'm
true.
up to.
But this is what I heard from a psychologist,
Boy,
that
boy.
97% of people will never change,
Yep.
7% will change once, and 3% of the population are ever evolving.
Hmm.
And I have to agree. And I'm going to take it back to when I used to really preach and teach, that I would always wonder, why aren't these people getting it? Like,
Why aren't they get
they're
it right?
like still in the same shit,
Right.
and now I get it.
Yep.
So I'm more attracted to people who want change.
That's my entire life, and that's the world that comes at me, right? Men and women come
Yes.
at me because they're like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm not happy. This ain't working. I followed my mother's advice.
Yeah.
I follow the culture. I follow my teachers. I follow my
Hmm.
friends. And I always say it cracks me up, and they're not happy. They're miserable. They're like, this
I
isn't working for
know.
me.
And then my thing is, how are you following people or listening to people who are unhappy themselves? Like, to
Right,
me, that
right.
shit just doesn't work. I'm sorry,
Uh,
I'm the cussing preacher.
Me too.
That shit doesn't work.
It well, my favorite thing to say that is completely fucking ridiculous. This is me cursing
Yes,
now, right?
yes.
Are you ready? You know what's fucking ridiculous is women taking advice by other women from other women about men.
I agree.
What?
I
How? Like,
agree. I
so
agree.
you know
But
nothing. You know nothing about men. The way they function, the way they think, what motivates
uh-huh,
them, right?
uh-huh,
You
uh-huh.
don't know anything about this, right? But then you're gonna get advice from a girl about your really?
Well, okay, so
No,
I
sorry, no.
believe, just listen, listen,
Yeah,
listen.
no, all right.
I believe that some of us have experience with the opposite sex, and we could teach what we've learned. So, for example, before you jump on me, I've been married 5 times, right? And
Yep.
in each of those situations, I learned
Okay.
a lot, right? Regarding myself, that's number one.
Yeah.
And then the people that I've been with. So I can take
Right.
my journey and I can teach people from that. But I can agree that I can't teach a man how to be a man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely only a man can help a man with his man problem and his direction in life, not his mother,
Hmm.
not his wife, not his girlfriend.
Hmm. But
It's
I
just
think
that, so.
sometimes men need to be more open
Uh-oh, here we
to,
go.
no,
Here we
no,
go.
and this is good, and
No, no, I
to
get. I play with you.
communicating or to listening.
Okay, so can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Please
gonna give you some stuff here.
bring
So,
me the fire, baby.
well, because women are always complaining about stuff like this. He doesn't talk to me. I'm trying to get in a conversation. I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't know what he's feeling. He just sits
Hmm.
there and gives me the one word answer. There's a whole bunch of reasons for this.
But
And
that's not.
primarily, men are stoic by nature. We don't live our lives through our feelings. Feelings are irrelevant, and feelings are even dangerous, right? The more I reveal of myself, the more people can use it against me. So there's an
Yes,
instinct. It's an instinct. It's not misbehaving. It's an instinct to protect myself by not divulging too much. The feminine, exact opposite. The feminine divulge everything for connection. So
I agree.
you want us to talk and share because you don't. The more quiet we are, the more stoic we are. The more you're wondering, does he like me? Is he thinking about me? Is he thinking about leaving? Is he thinking about somebody else? Is it, you know what I mean? So it makes you crazy, right? I get it. So
No,
yes, men need to share more, but the way a woman gets a man to open up, right? It's not by putting your hands on your hips and go, I need to know what's going on with you. You don't nag, you don't bitch, you don't cry, you don't complain,
right.
but that those things don't motivate men. It makes us go like this. Okay,
Yeah,
and they shut down
this
even
bitch
more.
crazy.
So understand instinct in men, understand instinct in women. You need connection. We don't. Not the way you do. We're stoic. We don't want to talk about it. Again, this protecting ourselves in that, and sometimes protecting you in that.
Right,
Right.
right.
So nobody's misbehaving, but you have to understand the operating system of a brain soaked in estrogen as opposed to a brain soaked in testosterone. These are two different machines, two different engines, and one will never act like the other. So in my world, what I teach is that there's his way, there's her way in every way
Hmm.
that it could be, and there's what I call the sweet spot. We have to meet in the middle,
Right,
which means you have to
right.
respect each other's differences, not make us wrong for it. So
Absolutely.
that's part
Absolutely.
of what's not working is demanding man or woman to act more like you because that's more
Hmm.
comfortable for you. That's not realistic, and that doesn't work. So
You know what's crazy? I don't like an over emotional man, right? That bothers me
now,
seriously.
do you know why?
Because to me, it's a turnoff. You're acting like a woman,
Right,
in
and
my
what's that mean?
opinion.
Right, and absolutely, but like, what does that do to you? Like, why is it a turn off?
It's
Dude,
a
take it off.
turn off because it's like you're acting like a baby.
Okay, and then in that, though, absolutely, acting like a girl as a male is unattractive. Acting like a baby, acting weak, acting, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what
and
what happen? What happens is energetically, you'll get this right away. This is again an instinctual reaction. Is you don't feel safe with him,
yeah,
and
okay.
if you
I
don't,
like
if
that. I
all
like
right, but
that.
if
I
it's
like that.
factual, so if you don't feel safe with a man because he appears weaker than you, that he can't protect you, that he's too sensitive, like you can't stand him. You instantly lose respect for him, and you want to find yourself a big macho guy who says, "Can you be quiet? Be quiet. I'll be back. We'll get this handled." Like he'll take it over, right? And you're like, "Ooh, you got all sexy all of a sudden." So
You know,
the,
like a
right.
balance, but that over
I know.
emotionalism is just like too much. Now, what I can tell you about me because of business, right?
Hmm.
I literally walk in my masculine in the aspect of I don't
Business,
overshare. I've
right?
learned not to be so emotional
Mm,
where I'm making emotional decisions.
beautiful. Yes.
And I used to do that, but now it's like, no, I'm going to listen and I'm going to analyze and I'm going to think and then I'll make the decision.
Yep. Yep. Now, again, it's a huge difference between men and women as a rule. If you're going to go into like the framework of what's more normal, right?
Hmm.
There's no
Hmm.
such thing as normal, but there's the norm that's more normal, right? There's the 80-20 rule
Yes.
about everything. But there's being, emotionally driven, which is feminine, and it's
Hmm.
being stoically driven or rationally driven, which is
Hmm.
masculine. Now, we both could do both, by the way. But some
Right.
people are more feminine men are more, emotional. Masculine women are less emotional and more,
Hmm.
rational. But we all need to find the sweet spot, right? Because we could be
Yes.
overly calibrated. So all of us have masculine and feminine within us, and we have to balance that within us, even just to even get with a relationship with somebody else, right?
Yes.
So what happened is this. I call it the triangle, right? So typically, what we do as people, right, is something happens, right? We get triggered, we'll react like idiots, like we're reactive, emotional, and then we think about it, go, damn it, I can't believe I said that.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So something happens, we'll react and we think later. Right.
Hmm.
What rational people do, masculine, is something happened, we think about it, and then react and respond. Right.
Hmm.
So it's the for women to learn to control their reactions, right? Absolutely appropriate, and that's the way that you're going to be able to communicate with men, right? For men, right, they tend to do this naturally, but they don't take to they don't tend to share what's going on, which makes you disconnected, right? So we have to meet in the middle again.
Yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
emotional people bring chaos. Rational people bring peace, and sometimes too much on both sides is also not balanced and makes people crazy. We have to be in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah, yeah. And just a man that talks too much. I'm like,
That,
shut
that's a that's a
up.
girl. That's a girl.
You know,
No,
I
I
won't say it, but I'll
no,
be
but you're thinking
thinking
it.
it.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah.
You lose respect for him. He's a chatterbox. He's not even. By the way, men who talk too much typically don't even have a conversation with you. It's always a monologue. They're more interested in the sound of their voice. If you pay attention to that. Now, in my world, this is the first thing I do, my ladies, my clients, after doing the release work of all the trauma in their bodies, so they could
Oh my God,
think straight. The next thing I teach is this. In my world, there's four types of men.
Okay.
And the one you talk about, the ones who are emotional, the ones who talk too much, the ones who like to simp, the ones who are victim in the world, the ones that can't get their shit together. By the way, those are the toxic ones. Those are the ones that cheat, lie, scam, con, hurt women and children,
Wow.
right? So these guys have to be avoided at all costs. They're temperamentally this, and we know how we get they get to be made that way, right? No
Mhm,
daddy,
mhm,
bad
mhm.
daddy, right? That's also nobody to role model after when he was little to grow into his masculinity appropriately, right? So
Right.
these guys are raised. If you're raised by a woman who are raised to be sweet and sensitive, and you become a girl, like so, without daddy role models of male energy around a boy in his youth, he gets castrated by his mother. Not now, she doesn't mean to, right? It does she doesn't mean to, right?
Right.
But that's by overprotecting him, by over cuddling him, by over like you want to make sure
Oh,
he's always good. That's how you
yeah.
raise a girl, by the way. This is appropriate way to raise a girl. But on a boy, right? So you castrate him. He never grows into his masculine. And now, by the age of 13 through puberty, these guys, these boys, I call them,
Hmm.
expect women to take care of them.
And
They don't want
it's
to work. They don't
crazy,
want to do
but
children.
women do take care of them because
You're
a
all
lot of
masculine.
women
You're
just
all
want to
masculine
feel
now.
loved.
Right,
You
but you're all
know what I'm
masculine,
saying?
and yeah, no, you're so masculine, and you see a guy in pain, and you want to help.
Y-
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think because we're nurturers, we always
I
want
know,
to
I know, I know. But
help and we
you,
want to
what?
fix
But what
a
happens
person.
is, you become his mother as opposed to his
Yeah,
lover, his
I
wife, his
agree.
girlfriend. You become his mother. You lose respect for him. He's always going to take advantage of you. He doesn't want to provide, doesn't want to protect, doesn't want to marry you, doesn't want to take care of your kids, so doesn't want the responsibility of
Yes,
anything. He
yes,
wants to be comfortable and chill. So he'll encourage you to be a boss babe, go girl, get that promotion while he's on the couch with the dog, spooning the dog and having, smoking a joint and writing his music. Like it's always the same. So the yin yang
it's
again,
crazy.
we talked about polarity earlier. These soft feminine boys attract masculine women who will rescue them.
You know what's
Ta-da!
interesting? I love teaching women how to be soft.
That's my world too.
Ah,
That's my
yes,
world too.
I love that. Because I think a lot of women have not had the opportunity to have a soft life
Yeah,
or
no.
to be soft, and they had to be hard and a boss
Yep,
babe and go
yep,
get it in the
yep,
man
yep,
and the woman,
yep.
so just stepping
All of,
back. I was her,
yeah, no, I
right?
get it. I can see it. I can see it.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no,
Read
don't
me,
frown at
baby.
me. This is my work.
Read
But
me,
no, but the
baby.
fact you get okay, get this. This is very simple. Okay, the psychology part of my work
Hmm.
is when a woman. Okay, what's supposed to be what works, what's natural and works best in being a child or being in a family, right? So, are you ready?
Yes.
So, daddy is supposed to be protective energy over the household. Like
Okay.
a dome over the household that makes everyone feel safe. Even if he works a lot, daddy's present, daddy's pays the bill, daddy's is the one that kind of makes everybody steady, safe. Daddy's the logical, rational one who keeps everything going. Are you with
Right.
me?
I'm with
when
you.
when we have daddy energy over the household, mom can actually slip into her nurturing natural feminine energy and then nurture the children because she feels safe.
Yes.
So he's a
Yes.
safety, right? Under God, he's a safety. She can relax into being a woman and a mother. She nurtures the children who then grow up to be well balanced because they have both masculine and feminine in their environment.
Yeah.
The young men can role model after their fathers, a good man to become a good man. That's how men become men.
Right.
Only
Right.
men can raise men, boys, into appropriate masculinity. Without
Hmm.
it, you have a boy, right? On the other side, when the mother's feminine because she feels safe,
Hmm.
right? The little girl can role model after her mom and actually grow into her feminine. So
Right.
all of my clients, every one of my clients, and you included, Sorry, I could smell it. I could feel you. I'm
It's
just feeling
okay.
you.
No, talk
It's
to
good.
me.
But all of my clients are young women or women who have had no daddy, bad daddy, alcoholic daddy, or never
Mm-hmm.
felt safe with their daddy because he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even not there or not present, or a boy.
Okay.
So if you marry your mother married a boy who doesn't like to work, who's always unemployed, who struggles, who drinks or does drugs, that's a girl with a penis. So the woman becomes mama bear, which is masculine,
Mm-hmm.
right? The boys I have no good role model on both sides. The woman is when mom is masculine and mama bear, the little girl role model after her the wrong
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
So the little girl doesn't feel safe. She mans up. This is an instinct, by the way. 5 years old, you man up because you don't feel safe in the world. You don't have a
Mm-hmm.
dad, or he's bad, and it doesn't allow. It disallows these ladies, these young women, to grow into their natural femininity. So the
Mm-hmm.
balance that's supposed to happen naturally is thrown out the window, and you become a boss babe. You attract boys, and you think that's man, and you're miserable. Sorry,
Now,
but it's
no, no,
trauma.
no,
It's
no.
trauma. It's trauma.
So, and I was going to go there as far as me is concerned. So, mine was trauma. So, mine was being molested at
There you
the
go.
early age of 6 or 7,
Yep. Yep.
and
I'm so
I
sorry,
was,
brother. I'm
I.
so sorry. I'm
Oh,
so
no,
so
no,
sorry.
it's okay.
It's not okay. It's
It's
not okay
okay
because
now because
sure, but
I've
it
healed from it. So,
right.
no, it's not okay. The act of that is not okay.
Makes me
But
angry.
I've healed from that. And that's when I learned to be soft and to attract a different type of energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So and I number my husband's. So between 4 and 5, I took 8 years
Ah,
to
to get yourself
heal.
fixed. Yes,
Because number
beautiful.
4 was 16 years of a horrible marriage.
Sorry.
And that was a boy.
Yeah, I promise you, if I went back to your history, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if we went
No,
through,
no,
they
please.
all would be boys. They would always be boys
Yeah,
until you
yeah,
woke up. Until you
absolutely.
woke up, because
Absolutely.
a boss babe, and strong woman will attract these limp dicks. I call it, and you think that's men?
Exactly.
No, it's those guys.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So I
Yeah.
no, 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 don't be sorry at all. So I took those 8 years to heal. Right? I wanted to know, why do I keep going around the same circle? Same man, different face. And
Yep.
not that they weren't good people, but they weren't good for me,
Right. Right. But
but I
again,
had to heal to begin
the
to attract something
absolutely.
different.
Like I said, and nature will take it over. I'm just saying, if you're masculine
Yeah.
woman, you attract feminine men. If you're feminine men, you're interested in masculine women. And
Yeah.
the problem with that is, even though there's a yin yang that I call it nature, as you have to have polarity for things to happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But we actually have inverted polarity now. We call it, where we call that ego dystonic, where a woman lives mainly through a masculine. She's ego dystonic. She's inside out. It's not
Mm-hmm.
good for her. It's not healthy for her. She's
Exactly.
stressed out. She's burnt out. She's exhausted. It's all on her. She hates it, right? When a man is ego dystonic, he doesn't want to take care of anybody, doesn't want to protect anybody, doesn't want to like disturb his little life. He likes to be comfortable, right? So these people will
Yes.
come together energetically, polarity, except within a few years, you want to kill each other. The woman loses respect for
Yeah.
the guy. She's tired, and he's like, What's the problem? You okay with this?" And now
Yeah,
they
yeah,
divorce. So these
yeah.
things don't work and they don't last, is what I'm saying. So you could be, if you're inside out, you're gonna groove with the opposite. You're gonna hate it until you do your work, like you. And we all get that opportunity.
And you know what? And I teach people, heal, do the work, because you'll begin to live your best life
Well,
once you do the work.
like I said, you have to unload the crap of your
You do.
childhood and your relationships and why, as opposed to blaming men. Again, you'll attract what's opposite, right? If you're a
Mm-hmm.
masculine woman, you'll attract only feminine men. You'll only attract boys. They will you'll never feel safe with them. You'll resent, and you'll think that's men. That's why women say stuff like men aren't shit. No, you're stuck in your masculine. Let's go back into your
Yes.
childhood. Let's see where the wheels came off, because that's your belief. And then what's crazy about the human mind is that when we believe something, we
Mm-hmm.
hang on to it. We talked about this
Mm-hmm.
earlier. And more than that, we go and prove it. See it, they're all the same. See it, they're all the
Yeah,
same. You keep
but
attracting the same time, right?
words have
Men do the same thing
power.
too, right? Well, again, the psychology behind it too, right, is we attract we attract. If you're a woman, you'll attract somebody like your dad. If you never felt safe, you'll find a guy who's not safe, who doesn't want to
Mm-hmm.
provide, protect, right? Whichever way, again, there's a little bit of a flex in that, right? And what happens, you'll find a guy just like your dad who did you wrong or you never felt safe with.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to correct that guy. You're going to make him act right. Well, that doesn't work. Same with men, right?
Yeah.
Men that have poor relationship with their mothers will attract a woman like their mothers to continue the story and try to fix her. Except
You
that's a
know,
shit show. It doesn't work, right? But that's what we do, and that's why, like, when you find yourself in the loop, same freaking result, a different person. It's
mm-hmm.
you. It's you. It's
Yes, it
you. It's
is.
you.
It
It's not
is.
man. It's not man. It's
And
not women. It's you.
and
Wake up.
that's like with me, I take responsibility of my own actions,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, if I'm the common denominator of something, you gotta look at me,
Ta-da!
right?
Ta-da! It's always
I'm
that. That's
just
my
saying.
that's my
But
favorite line.
a lot of people, unfortunately, don't want to deal with self.
Well,
And I
yeah.
think once we deal with self, then we can move on in a different space. You
And it's a
know,
yeah, and it's a choice, right? It takes
it
courage. It
is.
takes it takes time. It takes resources. You have to spend money on fixing your shit, right?
A
But
lot of
I
people
always
don't want
say,
to spend money.
they don't want to take the time. They don't have the courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
They try to they just go blind, continuing their whatever their games, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
right. My point is, I always say to my clients, they don't like. What else do you have to do all day, really? If you don't get your shit together, you're gonna be this way, miserable in this whichever way you're in for the rest of your life. If that's not working for you, then you're on cruise control. You have to undo that, step
Yes.
in, do your work, right? Man up if that helps, like, right?
Unpack. Unpack.
Unpack, but you have to. You can't just blame the world and people and the government and the patriarchy and shut the hell up. It's none of that. It's you.
Yeah.
It's your
Yeah. Yeah.
traumas that you carry around, and you go and prove.
So
So
speaking of
how
men, right?
yeah.
Did you hear about the 70,000 men on Telegram in a private Telegram chat
Hmm.
um talking about what they were going to do to women, children and youth? Did you
No,
hear
but
about that?
no. Tell me about it. And
So basically, they wanted to, or they want to sexually assault
yeah,
like their wives, women they know, their children, and it was exposed recently.
right now, does that sound like men to you or a bunch of
No,
boys?
that's boys. Like,
Right.
come on,
So again, right, temperamentally, these are the people to avoid. They exist, right?
it's
But now,
crazy.
but women think men are like this is men, they're toxic, and look how dangerous they are. No, those are those men, and it's only a small percentage of the population of these guys. The rest of the guys, the rest of the men, us, will protect you from these idiots.
Yes,
But you
yes,
put
yes.
us, you lump us in a category. Look, this is man. It's the same as like blaming you know, like only dating only fan girls and say, well, see, they're all whores. Well, no, you
Right.
dumbass. You're
Well, why
going after
would
the.
you say all only fan women are whores? Why would you say that?
Well, no, it's a sex industry. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I
So
know.
my point is, men will say this, right? If she's only
Right,
fan, forget it. Like she's a whore. Like she's a paid to expose herself and have sex on. Like, so my point is, you could say women are all whores. Well, that's not true. So you can't say men are
right. You
all
can't say
like
that.
these guys, right? It
Right.
exists. It's out there, but that's not the norm. That's not the norm.
Yeah,
So
it's not the norm, but I'm gonna go back to the OnlyFans, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I don't believe all those women are hoes or whores. I believe that sometimes, this is just my perspective,
Okay.
people do certain things based on where they might be trying to go or get to. So, for example, someone in a strip club might be stripping their way through college and they don't have other resources to help them to pay that bill. Does that make
No.
sense?
Yeah, no. Sorry, no.
Okay, come on, talk to
No,
me.
no, no, no.
Let's agree
It's
and
it's a short it's a
disagree.
shortcut, And by the way, I was a Chippendales dancer. I've been in
Were
the
you
section. I was
okay?
my first professional job.
Look, look,
And
look.
my point. So it's it's a phase of life. It taught me a lot, and it actually taught me how traditional I am at the core. Because
Okay.
I thought it was a
See?
wild animal. I thought it was a
And
wild
you
animal.
weren't a
No, no,
hoe.
I was. But men can't be hoes. Men are homemakers.
Oh, whatever. Men can be
I,
hoes
I,
too. Go ahead.
okay, it's like a double standard. Double standard. A
It
guy
is
with a
a
lot of,
double standard.
but it's nature again. A lot with a guy with a lot of conquest, just like a lion who has his clan with 18 females. Right, that's a king. That's a boss. Right, and people respect him for that. A woman with a lot of conquest destroys
I
her value. Destroys her
I
value. So
agree.
again, you don't have to like it. That's
No,
nature.
no,
So
no, no. I agree from a societal standard. I mean, that's just
nature,
how it is.
nature. It's
But
nature.
personally, I'm just saying, personally, I don't agree with that. Now, let's get back to you being a
Bring it.
Chippendale.
Oh, really? Of all the things we could talk about that, right?
Well, I'm just curious, like how you got into it, because I used to love the Chippendales
Yeah,
as a
no, it's
teenager.
a whole lot of
So,
fun.
how did you get into it, and how did you get out of it?
Well, I was a professional dancer, you know this, right? That was my
Yes,
career. I worked with Michael Jackson, I worked with Prince, I worked with Paul Abdul, I worked with Julio
I
Iglesias.
like Prince
Yeah, yeah, and they're
and
all
Michael.
dead. They're all dead, except for Paula and Julio. Anyway, my point is, so I was a professional dancer. I was visiting Los Angeles. I was here for 2 weeks, helping a friend with his demo video choreography stuff. And on the second night of me being in Los Angeles, there was a party at the studio where we rehearsed dance party for dancers, all commercial dancers in the city, people that want to be part of. And I'm standing there with my girlfriend in Los Angeles on a Saturday night having fun, right? We're on vacation. Everybody's 25 years old. Everybody's a professional dancer and choreographer, right? The business of it. Um, and this older guy in the corner staring at me. And turned out that I was introduced to him, and I thought he's just trying to pick me up. This is like crap. I'm dancing with a girl. Wake up! Right? Like, I was a little bit frustrated, and he says to me, after my friend introduces me, and I gave him the attitude. He goes, "Can you just chill out? This guy has a national show. He's looking for a dancer. He likes you. Can you say hi?" So I kind of corrected my attitude, and he goes, "Listen," he tells a story, right? This is the choreographer for Chippendales. I don't know this at the time. He goes, "Listen, I lost one of my dancers 4 months ago because the show has 6 strippers and 4 professional dancers, but we have to look kind of like strippers in good shape and thin and muscular, right?" Okay. Now I did. So he says, "Look, I lost a dancer 4 months ago in Los Angeles. I can't find anybody to replace him. You're exactly what I'm looking for. What do you say?" That's how I got the job
Wow,
at a
that's
party
impressive.
in Hollywood, just like I got my own Hollywood story.
I
So
love that.
yeah, so that was my first job. I was on the road for a year and a half, and as someone used to
Okay.
like sex, drugs, rock and roll, like you can't believe, 3 times a day.
Okay.
That was endless.
You guys
Ki-
are
ki-
amazing. They
Thank
were
you, but
so sexy.
yeah, and it was really fun, and guys get along. So we were touring in the touring bus, and we never had any troubles together. 15 of us,
Okay.
with the crew, but this is what I discover having so much fun, sex, drugs, rock and roll, right?
Hmm.
uh, how traditional I am in the inside. I
Okay.
had no idea. I had no
Okay.
idea. I didn't know I was this traditional. I was, I looked at myself as go against my
Progressive.
family's and well, my family were Catholic. They took it to a cult level, so I rejected all this and became like I don't care. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I'm
Hmm.
going to be having anyway. So, but interestingly enough, the core of me is like traditional. So after a year of doing this, I started seeing the danger of this. It's very
Okay.
dangerous. And I'll explain really quickly. This is why celebrities also are always in trouble. Because what
Okay.
happened is we have no responsibilities. Everything's paid for. We're making a ton of money. We're traveling. Everything's paid for. We don't have cars. We don't have apartments. We let everything go. So all the money we save and everything's covered, right? And then women give us drugs. Women give us alcohol. Women give us sex, right? It's just all day long, all day long, all day long.
Okay.
So, and what happened is because there's no responsibility, literally life is fun all the
Hmm.
time.
Yes.
And guess what happens when you're having fun all the time and it's now normal? Very, very quickly, it's boring.
Yeah, because
because
everything's accessible to you. So you
right,
look for
because
something
but it
higher.
but it right, but it's just normal. So it's normal. So in order to get excitement, you have to like up a little bit the crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Up the crazy, up the crazy, up the crazy, up the crazy. And when I realized I saw myself up the crazy, because what else do we have to do all day? Right.
Mhm,
Right. And
mhm.
I saw Kevin was Kevin had been on the show for 5 years. And so Kevin
Okay.
was a veteran. And I saw how out of his mind crazy he was. Right. And he started saying, like women are all bleep, they're all blah, they're all blah.
Mhm,
And we used to have a conversation on the bus about this with like we only males who know women because we see the true nature of women because it's all we got coming at us, right?
mhm.
Drunks and just, married, kids, bachelorette party, and they're in my room, really? Having sex? Like, anyway, so lost respect for women because they all, every color, every size, every age, they all do the same thing. All of them, all day long, right? So we, again, this is kind of messed up, right? So when I started saying things that Kevin was saying, and I
You
knew that
knew.
Kevin could never be normal ever again. He was
Right.
twisted to a point of no return,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And I thought, I don't want to be that, right?
Okay.
And when I started saying things that he used to say, that he just came out of my mouth, and I'm like, ugh, I'm sounding like Kevin,
Okay. Okay.
and
You were
that's
becoming Kevin.
that's when I quit. I mean, I saw the danger because
Okay.
and it's also when I discovered that I'm very traditional. So my head went back to I want a wife, possibly kids. I could
Okay.
never get there if I continue this shit.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
never have respect for any woman because this was our lives day in and day out, day in and day
Okay.
out. Like, so that's why I quit. And the guys are like, "You're so stupid. It's the best job in the world." I'm like, "No, it's a gig. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go back to LA and get back to my life. This was fun, but I know it's very dangerous and it's not gonna give me the life I want."
You
And
sound like me. If I'm having too much fun in something which hasn't been in a very long time,
mm,
I'm out of it.
well, like I said, it become hedonism, which
Mhm.
means instant gratification with everything,
Yeah.
and often that destroys a good future. If you're gonna
Yeah.
spend your money because you like to party, you're never buying a house, right? Like so, like
Right.
it's kind of also it's a mindset. Yeah,
I
hedonistic people just have fun and they're in the moment and they're
Mhm.
spontaneous and they burn their money like little kids and they don't think in the future. They're all about fun and sex and drugs or whatever,
Mhm.
right? And the people who are stoic, you
Mhm.
know, are discipline themselves so they have a good future,
Mhm.
right? Save your money, right? Like make a plan for the future, business, like, and these are guys, these are people that have good lives on the other side, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not easy. It's a lot of discipline and restraint. So again, the life of no restraint, hedonism is very dangerous and leads to nothing but chaos.
I totally agree. I agree with that.
It's fact. It's fact. I have so much that could pull you from examples one after the other. In the name of freedom and fun, you
Mhm.
know, miserable life, the second half of life, miserable.
So how'd you get into coaching?
So interesting. I had a messed up childhood, like I said, and I felt like I was
Like
born in
most
the,
of us.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, most of us walk out of childhood with I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not
Mhm.
worthy,
Mhm.
right? That's the pattern, all of us, because we weren't loved right, whatever. For me, as I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here.
Okay.
I was an accident. My mother hated being pregnant with me, which transgressed into my nervous system. I was born not supposed to be here, and then
Okay.
she proceeded on ignoring me. Like so, like she confirmed that the rest of my life. So I put that together at 5 years old, and it was like freaky, like freaky when I put that together. I'm born in the wrong family. How is that
Mhm. Mhm.
possible? How's that possible? Anyway,
Mhm.
so that became my radar. Out of survival instinct, my radar turned outward. I started watching the world and people, trying to understand how that's possible. At five
Okay.
years old, but it became my go-to. I spent my life watching people, trying to understand, and became fascinated with the human condition. Even in school, like this guy's got swag. This one's a dork. This
Mhm.
one is a brat. Can't even look in your eyes. He's so brainiac. This one's a slut. This one's cool. This one's a cheerleader. And how do you
Mhm.
get to be us? Like to me, that was
Yeah.
fascinating, right? So I've always been fascinated with that, trying to understand myself and the world around me to make sense of it. At the
Okay.
age of at the age of 23, I started taking personal development classes because I was a mess. Nobody raised me right. I didn't know who I was, what I was here to bring, like blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
And so throughout my career, even as a dancer, and then I when I quit dancing and we started having a family, my wife and I decided to not travel any longer because I want to be present. I want to be present to raise my kids, unlike my
Yes.
father. Do you know what I mean? So I designed my life by choice and opened a car business in Los Angeles to keep me grounded,
Okay.
right? And I did it beautifully. I mean, looking back, going, God, who am I? But I bought,
I love
the
it.
car
Yes.
business. But
Toodles,
yeah,
baby.
but get
Yes.
this: the car business was 6 minutes from my house, and
Okay.
the kids' school. I have two kids. The kids' school was 2 blocks away. So
Okay.
by design, I was present for their entire lives in being in the household, being part of their lives. But both my wife and I were at every recital, every parade, every Christmas parade, a
I
Halloween parade.
love
We were
it.
both there
Yeah.
always, and to me, that was very, very important. So
Right.
again, throughout all of this, I'm still personal development, learn how to raise the roof of the business and make more money and be more efficient, all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2006, this is when this whole thing kicked in. I'm a curious guy. I want to know everything because I'm lacking so much. I'm thinking, so I'm always just give it to me, anything you got.
Yeah,
I
that's
want to know it.
me.
I want to
I
know.
want
I
to
want to know. Right.
learn.
So I'm in Northern California in a business workshop trying to raise the ceiling of my car business. This is when I thought life was random, by the way. That was the last moment where I realized I have four pivotal moments in my life that just
Okay.
like
So I'm gonna have
anyway.
to tell you about a pivotal moment, but you keep going.
Okay, so I on the flight back to Los Angeles from that workshop in Northern California, I'm sitting in the same three seats, right, in the same row of this couple that I met over the weekend. It was a 3-day weekend
Okay.
for business. So I'm thought, oh, look at that, that's interesting because it's 200 people on the plane. I'm sitting with these two. Interesting. What a coincidence. How cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway, so at one point in the flight, the lady says to me, "What are you doing next weekend?" I go, "Next weekend I'm free. Why?" She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I go, "Of course." Because
Okay.
I don't you have to know what it is. I'm gonna learn something, right? It's my
Yeah,
brain.
yeah, yeah.
And these workshops can be expensive. She's comping me in, absolutely. And then I go, so what's the workshop? What's it about? That's my brain, right? And she goes,
Okay.
oh, it's called Understanding Women.
Ooh.
Wait, really, really, ugh, right? Now you have to understand because I'm artistic style personality kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
That's what I thought anyway at the time. I didn't know. Now I know why, but at the time I just like I always attracted sweet women.
Okay,
You
okay.
meet my wife, you go, "Oh my god, she's so lovely. Like she's sweet, she's feminine, she's gorgeous." Like
But
that's how.
you're pretty cool too, though.
But at the time I just this is just me, and I attracted sweet women, and I thought it's because I knew
Okay.
something, because I got some shit, this has some swag, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought I thought I knew something because I
Okay.
never did the crazy stuff my friends did, the yelling, the screaming, the fighting, no, I'm not doing any of that drama, right? So anyway, so I'm thinking I know something. I don't need to understand women. I got this. No,
Yes.
without arrogance, really was my experience. So, but I went to the freaking workshop because on a Saturday morning where I could be sleeping in, I'm driving to the LAX International Airport, because the hotel, it's in a ballroom hotel by the airport, a hotel ballroom. I mean, so I thought it was gonna be cute. I went because I gave my word I was gonna be there. Okay, so I kind of backed into it. Thought it was gonna be cute. Walked into space. It was 400 people in there. 400 people in there. And I remember thinking, uh oh, not cute. I could feel it. There's something here. Like it's not. This is not cute. This is some.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all I can tell you is at the end of this workshop, my brain was all over the walls because I literally came off my chair like 7 times throughout
Wow.
the workshop. I came off of my chair. This creature, me as a male who thinks women are pretty easy or simple, right?
Uh-huh.
They're different than us, but hey, you know, like literally my brain exploded all over the wall. I came home at the time we're married for about 8 years. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
Right. I have my family. I have my wife. I have my life. Everything is working beautifully. But I realized in that workshop that I knew nothing about women.
Okay.
Nothing. Like nothing. It was upsetting. Like the way
Okay.
you function, the way you think, the reason why you take things personally. Like it's all explainable. It's not because you're crazy, and it's not like so. Like wait, what? Hurting your feelings. Hurting your feelings. If I say something, even if I don't know that's hurting your feelings, but I can hurt your feelings not saying something. Huh?
Right.
Right? It's something I do, but I can hurt your feeling by something I don't do. What? What? Anyway,
Right.
my point is, it was really, really, it was mind boggling. I knew nothing. So I knew nothing. I realized I knew nothing about women, which
Okay.
was a wake up call, but also meant I knew nothing about my wife.
Okay.
I have 2 little kids. Now, my siblings, I have 4 siblings, all divorced and married 3, 4 times. I have
Okay.
my wife, I have my life, I have my kids, I have, right? I'm not going to be a statistic. There's my brain. I'm not going to be a statistic because I
Right.
didn't know
Right.
this,
Right.
because I
Right.
didn't know this, right? So I ended up jumping into this company. Like that was one workshop that they had that I was privy to. I took
Mhm.
all of their workshops. I think there was 10 or 11, all the workshop. I soaked all this stuff up. The more I learned, the more I realized how much I didn't know. So
Okay.
after the fact, you could actually, after you paid for a workshop, you go back and assist for free just to be in the space in the room and assist, right?
Yes. Yes.
I continue weekend after weekend after weekend, even the same workshops, because the questions are different, the material is a little bit
Okay.
differently. Like the more I learned, the more I realized how much there was more, there was more, there was more,
Yeah.
there was more. So I became literally obsessed with it. And again, it was just for me and her. Like I was just to preserve my family, to make sure I wasn't going to be a
Right.
statistic. But it exploded. It exploded into this like understanding reality. And I continue researching. And I guess I told you earlier, I'm standing on the shoulders of 5 masters in the field of
You did
relationships.
say that.
John Gray, Mars and Venus is one of my mentors. Alison
Okay.
Armstrong was anthropology. Dr. Pat Allen here in Los Angeles, a family child marriage therapist for 46 years. I
Oh
spent
wow.
3.5 years in a summit private room with her, me and 3 or 4 other people, learning everything that she learned about this her entire career.
I love that.
Shanti Felhan, Dr. Esther Perel, who's now famous. At the time she was no. Anyway, so these masters have different angles of understanding in relationship, in the world of
Yes.
relationships,
Yes. Yes.
chemistry, psychology, you know, um, anthropology. Like so, these so
Mm-hmm.
and then my own research that connected all that together. It just took me over. And
I
at the
love.
time, even in my car business, people would like come and like I was always the guy that people spill their beans on. Like
Me
they
too.
they're just bloop. Like there's just anybody. I could be anywhere. Like some bloop. They tell me the most
Yeah.
personal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever vibe that is that people trust or feel
That
like
energy, they
they're
feel
not gonna
it.
they're not gonna be judged. They could be themselves, whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what happened in my business. So I had people come drop their cars off for me to fix, and next thing you know, they're crying at my desk, and I go, oh. So I'd close the door, and it's so
Oh,
much that the staff actually learned that if the door was closed in my office, don't
don't
come
come
in.
in.
Somebody's crying. So that's how it started spilling out, right? And
Wow.
spilling out and spilling out, and then my friends, anybody I talk to, and and then I start doing my own research and interviewing people and trying to, and I still do this to this day. Like God helps whoever I'm sitting next to on the plane, because
Yes.
they're being interviewed and I have no idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm trying to disprove everything that I teach, everything that I know, everything that I learn. I'm trying to disprove it. I want somebody to say bullshit. That's not how it works.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's always the opposite. They confirm it. 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 So I keep backing it up. And that's why when I speak with such certainty, right?
Right. Right.
50-50 does not work in
It
relationships.
doesn't. It
Give it,
doesn't. I
give the
agree.
shit up, right? Men will
But
not
that's that
obey
new
women.
generation talking about 50-50. Like
I know,
I
but it's
totally don't
everywhere
agree.
now. It's everywhere
But
now. It's everywhere.
I hate when women on a first date they want to pull out their credit card.
The
I'm
women?
like, why? Yeah,
Well,
like
again,
they're
it's the
doing it. Or they
paradigm.
go Dutch. I'm like, what?
Well, again, there's a bunch of different ways why that happens, and it's the exact opposite. Women who just sit there like this, like you spend 2 hours with me, you owe me dinner, like
Right, right.
entitled as hell. It's
I hate
ridiculous.
that too.
So there's both extremes, but a
Yeah.
lot of what I see, if men are the danger, men are toxic, men are dangerous, right? Men you can't trust that they're cheaters, right? As a woman, to be vulnerable to a man in our culture, right? If you can let him pay for dinner, you're going to assume especially if a masculine woman, then now you owe him something.
I
And
hate that too. I'm like,
but
you don't
women,
owe him shit.
I
Just
know,
thank
but women don't know
you.
that. And women who are masculinized and don't trust men, it becomes a power struggle, right? So I'm not gonna let him pay because he's gonna expect me to. I'm like, that's not how men think.
That is so
That's how it,
interesting.
But my
Dumb
point
to
is,
me.
again, there's all that shit out there, right? That I help
Yeah.
decode because there's what works and what doesn't work. And this what's again to get this. I'm gonna tell you this. Here it goes. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
So in the past, for the entire like history of mankind,
Mm-hmm.
right? A man to this day is our role has never changed. Men
I
expected to
agree.
provide, protect, cherish, give, support, lead, pay, right?
I
And masculine
agree. I
and
agree. I
right,
agree.
that's traditional, right?
Yes. I
Right.
love
And
it.
again, and men don't mind paying, but they need something in return, right? There's an exchange
Yes.
here. There's a yin yang, right? That women. So in our culture, women still expect men to be traditional, but the culture for the past 60 years have taught you ladies to not be traditional, to refuse
I
to be
agree.
traditional. That you're better than being somebody's wife and children would. So this is why it's not working. You want
Mm-hmm.
men to be traditional, but you don't want to be traditional. And men are like, well,
That's
forget this.
right.
So the men are like, I know what I want. If for men, instinctively, naturally, they build their character, they build themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they step into their fears, they discipline themselves into building something big in the world and relevant, right? A man has to be relevant in the world to get self-respect, but also be respected by men and women in the culture, right? That's why you say, what do you do for a living? We used to ask men this, now we ask women this. We
I
flip the
know.
script,
Or
right?
what do you bring to the table?
Well, bring to the table is the realm the relationship as well. And again, women have no clue. They go, "I bring me." I'm like, "You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You think a man's going to spend his life, money, resources on you just because you're pretty, right? And you have a vagina? That's an idiot. Like you don't understand
There's
men at
so
all."
many pretty women with vaginas.
I know, but actually, every woman comes with standard installation equipment vagina. Like it's
Yes,
not
yes.
special. Everybody's got one. What are you talking about? So you
And
want
a
you want
lot of
the
women be like, my
you know,
pussy is the best pussy. And I'm like, bitch, like
no,
everybody's saying
like
that. Stop
everybody's
it.
got one, and everybody's got one, and it's everywhere, and I get it for free online in 10 minutes,
Yes.
in 10 seconds on my phone. It's lost its value completely. But you think that's going to give you a high value man? You're an idiot, right? That's not how it works. And so again, if we talk about traditional male, one traditional women, because these guys build their lives. And these are the men who want to be married. These men who want to have children. These are women who. These are the men who are building a legacy, right? A kingdom, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
want a queen in their kingdom to give them children and build this whole thing, put his arms around the whole thing and protect it, provide for it. And this is what makes men get up in the morning. This is what
Right.
motivates us, right? The boys don't do any of that. They want you to do it. So my point is, ladies, you want men to provide and protect, cherish, give. You pay. You got to give him the traditional woman, which means you support him in the ways that, again, the yin yang of us coming together. We're not the same. We're complementary. What I have as a male, my natural abilities are different than my wife. So she brings to me the part I don't have. I bring to her the part that she doesn't have. It's a yin
Yes.
yang. It's a
Yes.
coming together. It's nature. It's fucking beautiful. But it's not 50-50, right? So I want to go get
Is
this.
that your
So look,
beautiful wife to the side of you? Oh,
yeah.
I
So
love that.
So this is my wife and I dancing. This is my
That's
entire life, right?
beautiful.
We're dancers. That's how we connect. Now, this has no equality.
Oh,
Are you
that
with
he's
me?
leading.
Thank you. Right? And get this. This is the metaphor for relationships, or um, the metaphors for relationships are incredibly beautifully lined up with dancing, right? So get this. So there's no 50-50 in that, right? I lead. I lead her, but as a
Mm-hmm.
leader, in order for her to follow my lead, to be okay with following my lead, and to be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable to my leadership, right? She has to trust me.
Right,
So
right,
for her to
right.
trust me, that means that I have to be aware of her, connected to her, feel her, and I have to lead her with sensitivities. And I want to tell you, as a
That's it right
dancer,
there.
as
Sensitivity.
leadership with sensitivity and devotion. That's what the role in the natural masculine is, right? So because I could actually hurt her. I could actually oversteer her. I could crank her shoulder if I'm not,
Mhm.
aware and connected to her and sensitive to her body, and right. So as a leader, I could be a bully, but she's not going to want to dance with me.
Right.
So I have to bring my sensitivities, my connectivity, and respond to her and be aware of her and how to push and pull her, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when she feels safe that I'm going to lead her respectfully and she's safe in my leadership, like I'm not going to spin her to a table or the wall, and if she can feel safe with me, guess what happened? She lets go of control, becomes vulnerable to my leadership because she
Right.
trusts and she's
Right.
comfortable.
Right.
And with that, the moment she lets go of control, she's now completely present in the moment. She lights up like a light bulb because that's femininity energy. When you let go of control and you're vulnerable, you shine, you open up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and what happens? All of a sudden, she's completely free to be in the moment, right, and present as I'm leading this thing. And guess what? I'm doing most of the work. It's not true because she has to support her side and she's responding to me, right? So it's not that I'm leading and she's passive. She's very, very active. We're just two different pieces. We have to,
Right.
make it work. Same in a relationship. So I have all these tools, by the way. I can teach all this stuff with those metaphors to
No,
my
I love
clients.
it
Like,
though. I
so,
love.
and that, by the way, like as I'm leading this entire thing, and check it for yourself, nobody's looking at me. They're all looking at her. Beautiful, glorious, shining, feminine woman just going to completely let go and let free because she could be vulnerable and open and let me lead. So that's relationships,
You know what's
right?
funny, Andre? So when I used to pastor with my ex-husband, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
One of the things I would do, and I would teach people to do, look at the wife. How is she responding to her husband?
Hmm.
Right? And you can learn a lot
Oh my
about
god,
your relationship.
absolutely. You could taste it. You could literally
Mm-hmm.
feel it. You know, my
Yeah.
my dynamic with my wife is we have that yin yang going, right? But this,
Uh-huh.
and by the way, there's a whole. It's not black and white. It's not like I lead all the time and she follows all the time and
Mm-hmm,
supports my
mm-hmm.
lead. There's a lot of give and take. There's all these things that we negotiate through the years. There's some
Yeah.
stuff I do that's more feminine, but we
Mm-hmm,
have both. There's more stuff that she likes to take on this would be considered more masculine, but we
mm-hmm.
negotiate all these things. You
But
do this, I'll do this. I'm not interested in this. Do you want to take
right.
it on, right? And so you create this dance per our needs, per our values, per our
Yeah.
wants and needs. So, but in that, there's still the frame that's traditional. You
Right.
know what I mean? She gets to
So
be a woman, and I get to be a man. She loves it. I love it.
I love it too. In our household, we don't believe in like submission, right? Or
Right.
submitting.
Right.
However, we both feel that we lead in the areas that we're great at.
Hmm?
However, in that, we're very traditional, if that makes sense.
There it is. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
saying
but it's just the verbiage,
as
if
well.
that makes sense.
Communication stuff, that's a huge part of
Yeah,
what I
like
teach. How we
yeah.
have people come at me all the time. This is all aspect relationships, obviously, but also like work relationships, business relationships,
Mhm, mhm,
family
mhm,
relationships, right? Men and women communicate differently, and people get so frustrated, and because people think communication is the words that you use.
mhm.
It's not the words that
It's
you
body
use.
language.
Well, that all that.
It
My point is,
yeah,
you if you don't get the results that you want, you're not communicating.
I
So
agree.
we think we're obvious and they're not responding and you make them wrong for it. No, we have different filters. You don't know how to So we communicate differently, and that creates a lot of problems. Not understanding that we are communicating. So again, I say to people, if you keep butting heads, you're not communicating. I told him, no, you're not communicating. Whatever you're
Mhm.
saying, whatever you do, whichever we do, is not working. Right?
Right,
It's a
right.
respect paradigm for men and it's a cherishing paradigm for women, two different filters. I teach all
Mhm.
that, by the way. When you understand all this, it's actually easy. It's actually easy because you actually could get in the middle and respectfully talk about it and figure it out. But we don't know this. We don't know this. And again, people insist, in their way. And I told them and I said, and my boss and my mother, it's all
Right,
miscommunication.
right.
You
And
don't
you
know how to
know
do it.
what? And I was getting ready to say most people don't know how to
Nobody
communicate
knows how to
because
do it.
we have never been taught.
Thank you.
how to communicate.
Thank
As
you. Part of the
children,
part.
we've
Yeah.
been taught how to respond and
Right.
do as you said.
And react, right? And
Yes.
resent and push back, and nobody's ever going to troll me again when I go.
Yeah, you're not
Right?
going to tell me or
You don't
yeah.
tell me the rest of it. The moment I get free of this crap, right? And so again, we all are driven by our past and our childhood and our, you know, our
Isn't that
beliefs about
something?
the world. Absolutely, the world, people, life, and ourselves, right? These things like line up in childhood. So how you come out of that, you're gonna prove it, and you're gonna be, you know what I mean. So if you've been pushed around, ain't nobody gonna push. Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
try that with men. See how far that goes.
Right?
I'm
So,
gonna make him. I'm gonna make him. I go, really? If he's a man and he's got any respect at all, he's gonna flip you off and walk away from you. You can't make him
yeah.
man nothing.
Right,
And another
right,
thing
right.
that's
I
not
like how you're
sexy,
doing your head though.
and I'm saying, don't, don't take me there. Okay?
So, you're in California.
Yes, starting.
We know that there's a lot going on right
Oh,
now.
hello,
I've heard
hello.
the conspiracy theories, which I
Hmm.
absolutely believe.
It's
And
factual.
I actually heard that people have been seeing UFOs too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's all stuff that's coming out all over the world, by the way. But United States
Yeah,
right
isn't
now, a
that
lot of UFO
crazy?
sighting. Well, it's a slow awakening, but the purpose of it, if you may, if I may, is to
Yeah, please may.
is terrified and scare people. And when people are scared, they can't think, they can't reason, right?
Yes.
They go into survival mode, and you can manipulate the shit out of them. So keep people scared, and they can't think, they can't see what's happening, and they're blind to what's happening. And so shit like this again is no this whole thing is so not normal. It's so planned. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like Hawaii was planned and executed.
Louisiana, I believe, was playing.
Louisiana, no, South Carolina is the exact same thing. They use water instead of fire. I'm just saying, like, but the fear that it creates, the displacement, the panic, right? I was in the
Yeah.
store last night, and we're nowhere near danger here. The danger is 30 miles away, right? But I go to the store, and the cashier's like, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, like we're all safe here." She goes, "Well, I'm
Right.
around the corner, but I'm all packed and I'm ready to go in case we get evacuated."
Oh
And you can
wow.
see the fear in her, and
Yeah.
but it's because it's in the air, because this is how you demoralize people and you control
Yeah.
them with fear. They can't think, and then nobody's asking questions about these fucking fires or the stripes in the sky. Nobody's looking up. Stripe
Yeah.
every 5 seconds, right? Like nobody's waiting. What the hell is that spraying in the air? It's not condensation, right? So but at the same time, what I see is the more exaggerated all this becomes, people are waking up.
So I have to ask you, how are you?
Yes. I'm great. I'm great. Like I
How's
said,
your
we're
family?
safe up here. We're all good. We're up in the hills, and we're far from the fires.
Good,
And
good.
yeah, so yeah, we're blessed. We're in the city and completely isolated at the same time because we're in the hills.
Okay.
So no, we're there's and they took out the part that they wanted to take out. We're
Yeah,
not
the
part of
rich
that.
people part.
Yep, we're not part of
That's
that.
what I heard. Yeah.
Well, that's like it's oceanfront property. It's
Yeah.
the highest real estate in California, next to Laguna Beach. So I'm suspecting Laguna Beach next. Now, by the way, there's a whole lot of they wanted that property, so they burned it, and now people are moving, just like Hawaii, just like South
Yeah.
Carolina. They
I
flooded it for a good reason.
I heard about them not having enough water, and also how the insurance companies
Yep,
had actually stopped
yep. 3 months
the fire
before,
insurance.
yep, canceled everyone.
And yeah,
Yeah,
like
no,
that's
it's a scam. It's a scam
horrible.
on 5 levels. It's a scam on 5 levels.
Yeah, so
There was no
I'm
water in the
sorry.
tanks. There was no water in the tanks that was released a couple of months ago. So the reservoir were empty. So there was no water pressure for the little water there was. They ran out of water in Los Angeles. You don't understand, the system we have is unstoppable. But they released all the water a couple months ago. People lost their insurance. Um, Firefighters were cut in half because
Yeah, I heard that.
the ones that didn't want to get jabbed got fired. So there was a lack of, and they started fires in 5 different places around the city. So they were dispersed.
Yeah.
That's how they destroy everything. And it's a really beautifully a beautiful scam.
I actually wanted to move to California
Mm,
previously,
yeah,
but you know,
yeah.
this
I,
is so. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't say I'm sorry enough. How can people help people in California?
well, my family started doing this already. Like, donate your stuff that you don't need. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
for us here, it's a lot of clothing. People lost everything, so you're going through the closet and dumping everything, to the Salvation Army and whoever. I mean,
Okay.
that's really thing. There's ways to probably give money somewhere. I don't trust these sources for myself personally, so
Yeah,
I don't
me
give
neither. I'd
money.
rather give them to
You know,
someone
so
that I
that
know
thank
where
you.
they would
So
get to people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you have a PO box people can send things to?
I got rid of it.
Okay.
So nobody. I mean, and I don't want to be part of being responsible for that. Honestly, right?
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
too much going on for me right now. Like that would be, uh, yeah, I wouldn't do it well. So I don't want to do it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like I said, kind of collectively, it's interesting. Collectively, the whole neighborhood's coming together. It's fascinating. People like kind of this when people kind of wake up and bond, right? Like
That's
so
true.
it's again it's terrible and it's waking people up and it's
Hmm.
bringing out the true nature of human beings and it's a beautiful thing to watch people show up for the people out of like this trauma, right? This dramatic. So, yeah, no, we're good, and it's going to take a minute to
Okay.
recover, and people get displaced, and the good news is that a lot of people, these people are very, very rich, so they
They
can
should
replace the
have some
house.
money in the
They
bank
they can
or
replace the house, most likely. It was a loaded area. I mean, all the houses were insane. I mean, beachfront property in Malibu and Pacific Palisades.
right,
Anyway,
right.
so yeah, it's
So I have a question for you. Do
just
you
started.
believe in spirituality?
That's all I do.
That's how I live.
That's how I live myself too. Morning, afternoon, and night. Everywhere.
Yeah, like it's just that connection to
Right.
God, the source,
Spirit.
to the universe.
Spirit. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
I
love it.
for me, God is like right there up at the corner in my room in the
Yes,
space, and because this is how I get the downloads to come this way at me.
yes, yes,
Downloads,
yes, yes,
things that I
yes,
don't, even working with my clients often, like I get out of the way and I open the channel, right? And
yes.
I'll say stuff that's not me.
I
That's not
know.
me.
Like people tell me that I've said things to them, and I'm like, I don't remember saying
Yeah.
that. And they're like, yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah. No,
okay.
so much so for me that, like I said, I opened the channel on purpose. I set my intention before every client, every call, every
Yes,
podcast about what I want my intentions are for them, and often is let me bring to them the part they need today, what we
yeah,
need to work on today, what we need to release today, right? Like guide me. I'm just a
yeah,
guy. I'm just a man, right? So guide
yeah.
me to help them in what they need now and why they're with me, right? So and it's always there. It's always right there. It's kind of crazy.
How do you feed your spirit and your soul? Like, who feeds you?
Oof. That's a good one. So um I have a lot of friends. I'm at the gym every day. That kind of releases stress to
Okay.
my body, cleans up my brain. It gives me good endorphins, right?
Okay.
I'm very, very social. So if I'm in a bad mood, all I have to be is with people and I snap right out of it.
You
So
sound
the
like
work,
me.
yeah,
Are
extroverts are
you a
like that, right?
Leo?
I'm a Virgo.
Okay, okay. I think we're on the cusp, aren't we?
Yeah, where I'm right on the cusp. So if you look at the chart, I'm actually much more Leo temperament than I'm Virgo temperament. Because
Okay.
Virgos can make you crazy.
Okay.
I'm kind of the get out of my way kind of Virgo,
Okay. Okay.
and
Okay.
and it's and it's color coordinated, but only to a point. Like
Okay.
so,
Okay.
right. So I'm Virgo, but very very Leo.
Got you.
But like people feed me, and like I said, I can't be in a funk if I'm around the people. So I socialize like a fool. I'm always like going to events, you know.
Okay.
Um, that's how and I live in paradise. So every morning I meditate with the sun on my face. And when the
Oh,
sun comes
nice.
over the horizon at 7 a.m., right? And God shines this light on me. I say, good morning, God, right? It's God saying good morning. And it's a new
Oh,
day.
it's in
It's a
your
new
face.
opportunity. It's on my face, as I'm
Yes.
meditating. I thank God for my life. I thank God for where we live. I thank God for my business. I thank God for my clients. I thank God for my hair. I thank God for my health. Like you name it, right?
Yes,
But I do
yes,
it every
yes, yes.
morning. I sit there for 30 minutes. So I meditate. I do a gratitude ritual. I set my intentions. I visualize the future, and I open the channels and set my intentions for the day for my clients. Every single day, 7 days a week. That's how I stay grounded. Also live in nature. Like I'm in the hills, so like I'm surrounded with trees. Like we're in nature. I could walk up my backyard. It's a steep slope, and I'm in the woods. Like it's crazy. Like it's incredible. So I'm very fortunate, and grounding. Nature is very grounding. The sun,
Okay,
and my
okay.
lifestyle. It's all about getting me grounded, so I could be present for my clients, for help my people.
I love the sun. I spend a
Oh,
lot of time in
oh.
Africa.
Yeah, God, I know. It's this. It to me, it gives me energy. It's literally that's how I start my day.
Yeah.
It just gives me energy. So when sometimes it's clouded, we have a marine layer. I get all. It was so spoiled
Okay.
here. It was so
Okay.
spoiled,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Okay.
And if it goes on for more than a few days, I get like, right?
Got you. Got
And my
you.
wife's like, breathe, it's okay, breathe, it's okay. But
Oh,
the good news
I
is
love
like
that.
I know. The good news is it's a morning thing. So by lunch, typically, whatever gray fog was in the atmosphere burns out. So then, if I don't get it in the morning, I'll do it at noon. Right? I'll just still go
Okay.
get it. I have to.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely need that. And I need the energy of people. I need to make myself more present as in
Mm.
going to events. But the only thing I hate here in Houston, the people can't drive. Like,
Interesting. I'm sorry.
so no, because of that, I kind of shelter myself at night because
Yeah,
literally someone could be on one side of the highway and dart all the way
yeah, yeah,
across, and people have
yeah.
been driving up the wrong side of the highway lately. So
Oh,
it's
what's
been
that about?
really interesting.
Weird.
So like when it's nighttime, I'm like, I don't want to be out.
Yeah. No, I
So it's
get it.
more
I
of a
mean,
safety.
right, right, right. No, I get it. I get it. For us, it's funny. Los Angeles, as big as we are, and the giant freeways that never end, right? But we're all going the same direction. Like there's no meeting. You know what I
Uh-huh,
mean?
uh-huh,
So
uh-huh, uh-huh.
we're either going slowly in the city, or we're flying on the freeway, but we're all flying the same direction. Like
Okay, okay.
you know what I mean?
Well,
There's
not
no.
here.
That's what I'm saying. Like the moment you go a little bit rural and the roads are meeting, right? Those are very
Yeah,
dangerous.
yeah,
Those are
yeah.
very dangerous for
You
all the
know,
reasons you just
so
mentioned. But yeah, so I feel totally safe in Los Angeles. Like I feel totally safe in Los Angeles. Like
I love it. I love
yeah.
it there. It's such a beautiful city. I was there, I think maybe about 5 months ago. I went to
Mm,
it's a organization with entertainment lawyers.
mhm,
So I just went there just to connect and meet different people and things
sure.
like that. So it was an amazing event. I
Yeah.
love your city. I love the energy.
Yeah. I know. Everything good that's happened to me in my life happened here.
Really.
Right
So
here. My business, my
I
wife, my family, my kids, my like all of it happened here.
wow. So you'll never move.
Absolutely not. I may be on the outskirt because the weather pattern here is exclusive to Southern California. You go
Okay.
to San Francisco, it's completely different weather.
I
It's wet,
heard.
it's foggy, it's disgusting. But it's still California. Well, no, that's not California. Southern California living. So the pattern, the weather pattern here, that means the
Hmm.
clouds always get blown off. We never get the clouds. Like the weather, just that little pocket where we are, Southern
Okay.
California.
Okay.
So you could be outside of Los Angeles and still be in
Hmm.
Southern California and have the same benefits. So
Okay.
the dream eventually for me is to have a small ranch because I'm a horse
Ooh,
lover. I was raised with
nice.
horses, so I need a few acreage and a couple of horses, and set that just. I do my work online, turn around, go
Nice.
kiss the horses, take a walk. Are
Yes.
you kidding me? Whew.
I
So,
actually just wrote a short film that I'm going to turn into a feature called Wild Horse.
cool. I
Yeah.
was born and raised with the horses. I used to take care of the horse. We had six when I was a kid. I
Wow.
was the one who fed them before going to school and fed them on the way back from
Oh,
school. And
that's amazing.
I mean, I used to come literally when I got old enough to drive. I would come up because we live in the country for the horse in the
Okay.
stables, right? But the school was 30 minutes away. So I pull up in my car, I leave the books on the car. I would
Okay.
go into the enclosure, the paddock, or the turnout. The horse would like we'd let him out during the day, so they're running around free, kind of in the space. And I would like hop the fence, get on the back of my horse,
Okay.
run around bareback. This is when we coming home from
Oh
school.
man.
You know what I mean? Just have fun with her, give her some kisses. Bareback,
Okay.
no saddle,
Okay.
just grab her with the hair and drive her with the hair. But we
I
had such a
love that.
connection. And then get off the
That's
horse,
beautiful.
walk
I've
back to my
met
car, get my books, and go home. Like, and then just
Wow, I've
have
met
dinner.
a few horse whisperers,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful. So I have to ask you this.
It's
In
done.
a relationship, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes people aren't compatible sexually. What would be your best advice to those individuals?
Well, yeah,
Bes-
you have
Besides
to,
hire you.
right. But that's always the one, right? No,
Right?
but in my world, there's four things I call the four C's you have to have for a relationship to go healthy long term.
Okay.
And love isn't one of them, by the way.
Okay.
Love is irrelevant. People say we love each other. No, no, that's not enough. That's not
Right.
enough, right?
I agree.
So the four are chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you don't have chemistry with each other, you're not gonna have fun in bed. So you have to check that. So if you're gonna marry somebody that you have chemistry for, well, you're setting yourself up. Am I right? So chemistry, compatibility. Now that's a really tricky one because people don't think about it enough. But I give you an
Mm-hmm.
example of like things that people, if you don't have, if you're not lined up to create the same future, right? And if this you may be incompatible with each other long term. So if you don't I give you example like I had a client that's married for 4 years or whatever, and he was Israeli, she was American, she was strong boss babe type, don't tell me nothing.
Uh-huh.
He wanted her to be more like in his culture submissive, right? Now he never said it out loud, but per his masculinity and building his business and
Mm-hmm.
providing for the family and just being the man, right? He thought she's going to realize she didn't have to work so hard. She didn't have to prove
Right,
anything. Like
right,
she's going to
right.
like ease up and become a more, a family driven wife
Soft.
kind of woman, right? Which is what men want. But what happened is she wasn't. So they were fighting all the time because he's expecting her to ease up because that's what he wants for her and with her. And
Mm-hmm.
she's out to prove to the world that she's relevant and boss like a dude, right? And the more they collide, and they came to with my help, right? He's like, I want you to be more submissive, like to like just be a wife and a mother. Like I'm taking care of everything. You don't need to do any of this, and
Right.
you can be relevant in the world, but part time too much. Like you're not here, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
here. We're all missing out on you. You're too focused outwardly. We want you in focus inwardly. Let me do the outwork, right?
Right, right,
What are
right.
you saying? What are you saying? And so they realized they weren't compatible because she was never going to be submissive. She was never going to be his little wife, which is
Mhm.
ridiculous to me, really.
I
Like,
think a lot of men get women like that because this used to happen to me.
mhm.
And then they think that they're going to change us or tame
Well,
us.
yeah, I mean, again, it's a whole different story because there's many layers of that, the many
Yeah,
levels
yeah, yeah.
of, but like ultimately we know that, if I make you feel safe, you should be able to relax a little bit.
Exactly.
But some of you refuse to let go. Again, you don't want to be traditional.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
Right. So
my
that's a problem. So,
I'm sorry, my now husband,
mhm.
because of his gentleness and because I felt safe, I came down.
Yep. Nature.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah.
works. But that's why
Like,
my ladies, they're overcalibrated and masculine. We just
mhm, mhm,
we recalibrate the feminine because she's in there, and
mhm,
often they relax. And in my world, a true boss is a woman who knows how to be productive
mhm.
and then let that shit go and become a woman in the world after work. So the way I say
Yes.
this crass is like, ladies, you could be a boss, but learn to leave your balls at work.
That's right. Most women can't.
They can't do it. They don't have that awareness. They're like, "This is who I am." I'm like, "Well, then that's why you're alone."
So do you
Because
feel like that's
masculine men don't
cultural?
want that.
Like
It's cultural. Yeah, we raise
like
little
black
girls to
women.
be
That's what I'm saying. Like black
well.
women.
Yeah, black women often the double whammy is there's a double minority if you want to put it this way, right? Like
Okay.
so, you're a woman, but you also come from typically a household with not a whole lot of daddy support. So black
Mhm.
women
Mhm.
basically are on their own. They're
Mhm.
raised by mothers who are on their own. Mama bear teaches her to be mama bear and to
Mhm.
fight in the world. So they're fighters for
Right.
survival, but that's not attracting masculine men, right?
Mhm.
So it's in the culture, but the same with every culture, really. We used to raise little boys with, "What are you going to be when you grow up?"
Mhm.
Now we don't ask boys this anymore. We ask girls. So we're raised you to be butch and masculine. Like that's the only
Why
good
you
way to
guys say
be.
butch?
Because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Like seriously, my sister's 5'4",
Okay.
pretty blonde. She looks like Meg Ryan because before she had her face all messed up, right? She looks pretty blonde,
She-
110 pounds. Meg Ryan. Do you remember Meg Ryan?
I know who Meg Ryan
Yeah,
is. She's beautiful.
not anymore.
Okay.
She had her face messed up. I'm just
I'm
saying.
gonna
So
have to go look.
she looked like Meg Ryan before that. Anyway, so she's 5'4", 110 pounds, thin, athletic, beautiful. She has a ton of money, so she's always dressed like a queen. You know what I mean? But when
Mhm.
she opens her mouth, butch. She's a
Okay.
fucking dude. Right? She thinks she's good. She thinks men like tough women. They don't. She introduces herself and squeezes your hand, and she tries to crush it, like she's just trying to overpower everyone. And men are like, "The fuck's wrong with this chick?
I hate a weekend shake.
Fuck's wrong with that chick?" Right? So she looks like a girl, but nothing about her is girl. She's
Got you.
butch.
Got you.
She looks like a girl. She's like, "I'm feminine." I go, "No, you dress like a girl. Nothing about you is feminine. Nothing. The
And
sound
you
of your
know,
voice, the yapping, the ba 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 ba. No, not about nothing. The way she walks, nothing.
I meet women like that, beautiful, sexy women. But when they open their mouth, I'm
Hello.
thinking, bitch, that's why you don't have a man.
That's what I'm saying. And
Because
those are the ones they call butch.
it's dominating, it's
Yep.
overpowering.
It's
Literally, it makes
it's
my heart palpitate. So I
yeah.
can imagine what it does to a man.
Yeah, for us, like I love when I hear women say like I intimidate men. I'm like I vomit in my mouth every time I hear this. You're like you don't intimidate men. You irritate men. We don't want that shit around us. The one you intimidate are the boys, and who cares? But you're not
Right,
intimidating to men.
right.
You're just fucking irritating energetically.
So,
That's like you're pushing on us. You're opinionated. You're combative. You're disagreeable. All the stuff you hate about us, and then we should love you for it. Mm, Houston, we
mm-mm.
have a problem.
Compatibility.
Yes. So number two, compatibility. Like I said, you have to
Mhm.
experience. You have to dig it out. I have 100. I call it 100+ questions that I
Okay.
give my clients to ask when you in the dating process to figure out compatibility to a very deep level.
Mhm, mhm,
Because
mhm.
again, people don't talk about it. If you're going to be married with children, what religious are we raising the kids in? What's your disciplinary
Mhm.
style? Are you a
Yes,
hitter or are you right? So if you don't agree on that, it's not going to work. You're going to kill each other, right?
yes, yes.
I had clients who they were together for a few years, and he was from Australia originally, but lived here his whole life, and he
Mhm,
always talked about Australia, right? And
mhm, mhm.
come to find out that his plan, you talked about Australia to him, was obvious, but is to eventually be retired and go back to Australia.
Okay. And she
They never
didn't.
talked about that. And she's like, "I'm from the Midwest. My whole family's here. I'm not moving to Australia. I'm not leaving my family." Broke
Right.
up,
Yeah,
incompatible. So
yeah,
there's
you better.
5 million ways that we don't investigate compatibility so it lasts
Yes.
long term, right? So that's number two C. Number three is communication. But
Mhm.
all I'm teaching, right? We speak differently, we listen differently, we don't, right? The good news, it can be learned. You have to learn to respectfully learn to communicate your wants
Mhm,
and needs.
mhm,
That's the only way to get to this,
mhm, mhm.
right?
Can
Like
you learn
this,
can you learn connection? And the reason I say can you learn connection is
what's
because
connection?
traditionally matchmaking was the family was putting their children together.
Right.
So do you think that you can learn connection, or
Yeah.
is it just natural to you?
No. So again, if you have chemistry, you have compatibility, you have
Chemistry. That's
communication,
what I was talking about.
right?
Chemistry.
Chemistry, right? So chemistry, like I said, chemistry is God given. You can't make more, you can't make less. Chemistry
Okay.
is the pheromones that we release from the top of our heads that gets picked up by the palate. But it's interesting. So
Mm-hmm,
you can
mm-hmm,
feel somebody's chemistry 30 inches away from you.
mm-hmm,
I had clients when they learned this, they watched their chemistry in action because they were oblivion to it. Most of us are. But like
mm-hmm.
she was in a theater watching a movie with a date who's sitting on her left, and she literally lubricated just being in the presence of the guy on her right.
I can
Like her
believe that.
whole body is just lit up. And not the guy she was with, the guy that she didn't know, a stranger, right? But
Mhm.
his chemistry just literally had her slide off her chair. Like, interesting, right? So chemistry is God given,
Yeah.
and we know how that works, right? There's a chemistry to each other's bodies that we recognize compatibility to make good, healthy babies. That's what it is.
So speaking of pheromones,
Mm.
in my single state, I would not go out when my pheromones were high.
Because it's dangerous. You lose control.
Yes.
Yep.
I knew don't go out dancing.
Yeah,
Nope,
no,
you're
you'll
grounded.
compromise. You'll compromise yourself. Yeah, good
You're
awareness.
grounded.
Yeah, most don't have a clue. Most don't really even understand that it's happening.
Ooh, I know when it's high, even now,
Yeah, good for you.
but I'm
Good for
very
you.
conscious of it.
Right. Just park
You
it.
know.
Leave it at home.
Yeah, yeah. So
don't
number
don't take it out.
4.
Don't take it out for the ride. Not today.
Right, right. Down, girl, down. Meow, kitty, kitty,
All
stay
right.
in there.
We go. No, we're good. We good. We good. We
Stay in
good.
them pants, kitty cat.
Yep. 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 We're not gonna
Those
regret this
skirts.
just because, right? We're not gonna get regret this because we can't. We're following. Yeah, the vibe. Yeah.
It's like my kitty be like, meow,
Yep. But
meow.
you're gonna hate yourself in the morning, right?
Right?
Because you don't really want to do this, but your body's screaming for
Yeah, like
connections,
baby,
for
come scratch
action.
this itch for me,
Right.
honey.
Yeah. 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 Oxytocin, feeling desired, being loved,
Yes.
feeling connected, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Andre.
No, no. I'm quite familiar. And it's actually part of your cycle, right? Like people don't really understand that. Like one of my assistant is 29 years old and she has terrible cycle swings
Okay,
because
okay.
because of your menstrual system, you have a 28-day cycle. Us males
Mhm.
have a 24-hour cycle. We
Woo.
sleep, we wake up full of testosterone and with a boner, typically horny. We have
Mhm,
24-hour
mhm.
cycle. Every single day, we could do it again and again and again. You have a 28-day cycle, and every week ish, your chemistry is different. There's the
You
pre
know,
ovulation, ovulating, off ovulation, menstruation, and it
so
rocks your world.
you know what's weird? So I've had a hysterectomy, right?
Good.
And I
Good.
think I am more horny since that hysterectomy.
Well, yeah, of course.
I
You know
mean,
why?
that
Do you know
thing is
why?
always on go.
Do you know why? Because your estrogen comes from your ovaries, and
Hmm.
the estrogen is what soaks your brain and makes you act like a girl, a little softer, right?
Hmm.
Like want to be of service, want to make sure nobody's ever feeling bad, right? That awareness of everything and everyone to be connected. That's all estrogen. When you take your estrogen out, you end up with being driven more like a man with more testosterone, and testosterone is the horny drug.
Okay, well, I still
That's why
have
older
my
women
ovaries.
was that
I still have my ovaries.
right, but the system doesn't work. So you have some, but there's also a paradigm of aging.
Okay.
So get this. So there's there's women are estrogen driven more. So it's all
Hmm.
connection and feeling safe and being
Hmm. Hmm.
pleasing and pleasant and make sure everybody's always good. It makes you neurotic. It's not your fault. It's estrogen. But when you hit menopause between
Hmm.
45 and
Testosterone.
55, your estrogen disappears and you become
Right.
more testosterone. So women on the other side of their cycle, their menopause, more masculine, and more direct, or careless, right, and more horny.
That is so funny too.
That's how we make a cougar. That's just nature.
You
And the other
okay?
side,
So
yeah,
you know what's crazy, and I think God was wrong.
bring
I
it.
think
It's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. The whole thing's a joke.
I think God was wrong because you have young men in their prime and you have older women in their prime.
Yep.
And don't you think God was wrong?
No, no, I think this a woman on the other side of menopause is liberated sexually and can be herself, and
Yeah.
she can say no, and she's like, I'm not doing that. Like, become kind of a there's a cougar energy, but there's also a queen energy, like not willing to compromise anything she wants any longer because estrogen is gone, right? And they become horny. So I think nature is beautiful. I think God's beautiful. Is that these older cougar women are the ones teaching the young studs to be good lovers.
Oh, I never looked at it that
That's how I see it. That's how
way.
I see it. It's nature. It's too beautiful to. It's too perfect.
Oh
And get
my
this.
God. I love
So
it.
this the same
You're
thing on the other
smart.
side, by the way. I'm just the research, right? So on the other side, when men go through andropause, which is the male version of menopause, between
Yeah.
45 and 55, the testosterone drops drastically. They become nicer, softer, more connecting. They could sometimes do two things at the same time, which is unheard of for right.
Increase in
So they're more
estrogen,
it's increase of estrogen, decrease of
decrease in
testosterone.
testosterone.
So what happened is with this, we're completely opposite. We kind of meet in the middle at menopause, andropause, and then we flip the script. So this is
I
why
love it.
no, but it's nature, right? It's chemistry. So get this: grandpa's always nicer than dad, and grandma's always scarier than mom. Nature,
Yeah.
chemistry.
I
Like
love
grandma
it.
don't give a hell. Grandma don't give a crap. My mother, who's now like 93 years old, who's always been a woman who wants to be lovely and pleasant and pleasing and
Okay.
nurturing and all that shit, right? On the other side of a menopause, and she's 93, so she has zero estrogen left, like just dry, like nothing, right? She's like a dude at 5 foot nothing, and she said to me, like, and I could have been offended, but like I know what's happening. She was visiting one time. I put a T-shirt on. It was a graphic T-shirt, right?
Uh-huh.
And I come out of my bedroom. She's like, "Oh my god, that's the ugliest shirt I've ever seen in my life. Why are you wearing that?" Right? Like she could never have said that before menopause.
Okay, okay,
That
okay.
would be so rude, right? But on the other side, she's such a dude. If she could say the worst thing, so grandma typically has no filter, and
Uh-huh.
grandpa is very kind, right? Better than dad and better. Well,
Wow.
it's nature. It's all nature and
Thank
chemistry. Like
you. You've
absolutely.
explained it. Thank you,
Mm,
thank you, thank you. So we're on number 4, and I'm sorry to keep
yeah,
interrupting, but these are some
it's okay.
interesting things.
Yeah, yeah. So chemistry, compatibility, communication, and the last
Mhm.
one I just discovered the last one in the last couple of years because I used to think it was the only three because we
Okay.
know without any of the three nothing works. If you don't have
Okay.
chemistry with somebody, you're going to be good friends. You're not going to be lovers. If you don't have compatibility, you're not going to be able to line up for a lifetime of relationships, right? If you have
Right.
communication, you can't negotiate your wants and needs. You're going to be fighting. It's going to fall apart.
Yes.
So the fourth one that I discover is another 4C, coincidental. It's called circumstances. I
Okay.
have clients who, have chemistry, compatibility, and they know how to communicate. They've experienced, they've had other relationships where they know how to do it right, do it better, differently. They know what doesn't work, so they stop touching that. And right, circumstances are missing. So I have clients where, you know, she, she meets a new guy, they have chemistry, they get along, they live close by, they could build something,
Uh-huh.
right? He's got a 10-year-old and 8-year-old that is raising through a divorce. Incompatible, like circumstances. So he can't step in. He doesn't want to be a husband. He's still a dad first. He's trying to survive that, right? So he wants the companionship, but he can't commit or commit to marriage. And she wants marriage. Incompatible, right? So
Yeah.
circumstances often will get in the way where just broke up, just out of a relationship, out of a divorce. I'm not ready. I like
Yeah.
circumstances. So you have to have the three plus the fourth, which is you have to really have the timing that you're both are in
Yeah.
the space that you can.
That's so true.
It's and it's sad because I see people that have it all, but like I said, this lady, I have another one. She's dating this guy who's American. Sorry, he's European, he's French. He was married to an American woman. They
Mhm.
lived in France for 10 years,
Okay.
right? So they got divorced. She stayed in France. He's now in New York City. He's dating my client, right? She wants marriage and kids. She's
Okay.
34 years old, right? It's time. It's time. He's 38. Perfect timing. He has no kids, right? Beautiful. It should fit. But
Mhm,
here we
mhm,
go.
mhm.
Watch this. Watch circumstances. It's sad. He refuses to divorce his wife, who's in Paris, because if he divorces her, she gets deported.
Oh
and
man.
she's built a life there for 10 years. So out of like respect and honor, he will not throw
Yeah.
her life down the toilet. So he can't divorce her, which means he can't marry
He
her.
can't marry her.
And
Yeah.
those are, so
Damn.
they're both heartbroken, but he will never ever, he's such a good guy, he will not ruin this ex-wife
That
life.
is honorable of him.
That's
So
that's that's typical male, by the way. Male,
that's
man, and
very
honorable.
honorable.
Yeah. So, but
So
it ruins her life, right? They've been dating for
well,
like,
she'll get somebody else. I'm sorry.
well, my point is the thing, they're so perfect in every way, like even lifestyle,
Yeah,
right? Like
well,
she's very
I
athletic, and
understand. You're
I'm just
perfect, but
saying,
you're not perfect for
but
this situation, right?
right, absolutely. So I'm saying incompatible circumstances don't line up. That's
Yeah,
actually makes you incompatible. It's another
yeah.
level of incompatibility. So again, if you have to step into a relationship with eyes wide awake, wide open, and I say you're not gonna like it, but this is again not my opinion, and I'm not a moralist. It's just nature,
Yeah.
right? That what most people do in our culture today is they date one, two, three, four times. They have sex. They start intimacy, thinking intimacy starts a relationship. But
And it doesn't.
for a man, it doesn't. It ruins it. So this is what doesn't work. So you date for weeks and months before you cross over into sexuality. It doesn't mean that you don't have fun, but you don't have intercourse. Okay, let me finish. And
Mhm.
in that, this is when you have the 3 or 4 months of finding out if you're compatible long term. That has these questions, right? Like people don't do this. Well, because what happens when you have sex early,
It blinds your
right?
judgment.
Well, basically, you it gives the chemistry of love and connection and all that stuff, right? That takes us both over. We're like La La
Mm-hmm.
Land and pink glasses on, right?
Mm-hmm.
What it
Mm-hmm.
does is the chemistry of having sex gives a fake sense of compatibility.
Yep.
And it's not fake. You don't know that freaking guy. You don't know his plan for the future. You don't know if you like. So there's not enough history to really know if you're compatible, but you have sex, you feel compatible, and then 8 months later you find out you're not compatible, heartbreak again, takes
Mm-hmm.
another year to recover from that, and waste of fucking time. So
I
the whole
agree.
idea of like sexuality and it's fun, and if you don't give it to the guy, he's gonna walk away. Well, if that's his prerequisite, let him walk away because
That's
a
right.
natural male will respect that and appreciate it in that. And again, in all that space, you get to find out if you're compatible. It's not that
So
hard.
I
It's not
teach
that
my
hard.
clients. I teach my clients to wait too. So
Not because I'm a moralist. It's there's a whole
right.
instinctual system in place there for men that they can't even explain. Just saying.
But you know what's crazy with my now husband? I waited
Mm. Yeah,
about 3 4 months.
that's not crazy.
And
That's
yeah,
what
I was
works
like,
best.
I'm gonna do
That's
something different.
that's what works best. Again, because
And it worked.
yep. If
You
you, I'm gonna
know,
say
do
this. This is crass. I'm gonna say something crass, right?
mhm.
If you're gonna get a man by his penis first, you never get his heart.
I agree.
You just don't. And I keep give you data out my
I
ass. Like you
I
can't. It doesn't work.
agree.
But in our culture, girl, you get it going. You think
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
it's
So
just what it is. Again, it's like and men can't explain it. Men always want to have sex because it's fun. It's dopamine. We like
mhm,
it,
mhm, mhm,
right?
mhm.
But it's a woman that says no and said, I don't know where this is going. I don't know you yet. I don't have casual sex for no reason. I'm not.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
don't know
mhm,
what your
mhm.
plans are for our future. I don't know if we're compatible. So
Yep.
no, and he's going to think you're more valuable as opposed to less valuable. If you're insecure,
Yeah.
you're not able to do that. But a normal, secure woman will say this, and the man will think, "Wow, she's got boundaries. She knows who she is, and she can express that clearly to me. She's not
Mhm.
playing game. Wow, oop,
Right.
value goes up.
I
Oop,
wanted
value
to
goes.
do something different to get a different result.
There it is, right? It's really simple. It's very
Yeah.
simple, and it's all instinctual, and man can explain it. They
You
respond to
know,
you in the way that you respect yourself, and if they can't, you can't respect yourself that way. They can't respect you, and you literally
yeah.
go and even if you thought you were a possible long term mate, the moment that happens, you go into to play with category as opposed to build with category. It takes 1 second. Not
Yeah.
worth it, ladies. That's what doesn't work. But the culture
I
goes, you get
agree.
yours, girl. You get yours, girls. Men get it.
I
Different,
say, you know what
different,
I say?
different,
I'm like,
different. Double
look,
standard.
you
Double
better
standard.
get a dildo and stick it up there
Whatever.
before
Yeah,
you go on
whatever.
the date. Release yourself.
What? See, whatever works for you, right? Like
You know,
whatever works for you. But
do
because
something different.
you know what I see a lot for the younger women is because they're all masculine,
Yeah,
right? And being masculine is exhausting.
it
Being competitive is
is.
exhausting, right? So they're not happy, they're stressed out, they're overwhelmed, they're anxious, right? Nothing attractive about that for a man's perspective, right? Exact opposite
Yes.
is what we want. But what happened is, get this: as men, the more we work, the more our hormonal system gets balanced, right? By being productive, we create testosterone that recalibrates our chemistry and makes us feel good, as opposed to overwhelmed and burnt out, right? So this being productive settles, like balances our hormone system.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
built for that shit, right? Women working like men and competing like men, you
We're
don't
not
have
built for that.
you're not built for that. So instead of feeling good about it, you get six times. This is Dr. John Gray's work. But for the same work week, you get six times the stress that a man does because you don't have testosterone. So you're feeding off your adrenaline glands, fight and flight, as opposed to testosterone. You don't have it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
burns you out. You get tired. You get exhausted, right? And none of that is actually attractive, dangerous for your nervous system in long term, right? Because now you can't sleep, you can't rest, you can't relax. You know what I mean? So, and what regulates a woman's nervous system, hormones, is oxytocin,
Yes.
not adrenaline. So, you need connection. You need to feel safe. You need conversation. You need to be in touch with people. You need to be touched and hugged. You need to be part of a community. All these things are what makes a woman feel connected,
Yes.
creates it creates oxytocin in her body. It regulates her hormones. So a woman who's regulated because she has her lifestyle lined up with her nature, right, could go out with a man on a date and not be so empty of connection and needy of being touched and desired and loved and kissed, right? Like because her hormone system is so over, like completely upside down, living like a man. These
Yes.
women are the ones who can't hold their boundaries. They need to be touched. They need to be loved. They need to be right, but they'll do it on a first date because they're so needy
Because,
because their
yep.
hormones is completely out of whack. They need a different chemistry than men do.
I agree.
It's
So
just fact. It's all science, right? So
I have a final well, one of two questions.
just tell me.
So my final question, or one of my final questions
Yeah.
is,
By the way, I want to say I know we're going long, right? But
it's okay.
I want the listeners to to stay here because I have a gift for them at the end. So just want to say that.
Oh, how amazing.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, there's so many women who make way more money
Hmm.
than men.
Hmm.
How can they balance a relationship with a man who doesn't make even half of what they're making, and the men aren't making it due to maybe lack of education or resources or what? So how
Hmm.
does a woman get into a relationship with a man who doesn't make it as much and still be able to feel safe with him?
Right, right. Well, again, you got to fight nature here a little bit
Okay.
because have you heard of hypergamy?
Yes.
Right. So what's hypergamy? Is women can only date and marry sideways or up.
Right.
A nurse could date and marry another male nurse, or
Hmm.
a doctor or a surgeon. Right. That's all
Hmm.
up. But she cannot date the guy that works in the kitchen in the hospital.
Okay.
That's hypergamy.
Right.
That's
Right.
needing somebody in order for a woman to respect her man. She has to be able to look up at him, not down. If she looks down, right, she's in charge, and she can
Okay.
respect them, which means the relationship won't work. You see it? So
Okay.
the more money a woman makes, the smaller the pool of available man that fits her lifestyle.
That's what I was gonna
And
say.
this is where all my women are experiencing. I'm a boss babe. I make money. I have an apartment. I have a house. How come nobody wants to date me? Right. Well, first of all, you disqualify the men that don't fit your lifestyle, and
Right.
those guys, they're only 10% of the population, maybe 20, depending of where you're at. But these
Right.
guys have options coming out their nose, right? And your money is irrelevant for those guys. And if they have everything you want, which is lifestyle, money, career, 6 foot tall, six packs, six figure,
Mhm.
right? These guys don't commit. They have options. They have the women throwing themselves at them. So the more money you make, the more you put yourself in a box that's going to be very hard to fill. So either you understand that mechanism and disconnect from it, right? Like
Are
so you
you
have to
saying quit her job?
lower her standard. A good man's a good
Okay.
man, period.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So with the women who succeed at that, right, realize that to feel safe, they want the companionship of a man. And a man who makes less money doesn't make him less of a man. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You can have a guy that works for the city, you know what I mean, as a blue collar. He goes to work, he makes the money, he makes you feel
Mhm.
safe, feel right. He may not make 200,000. He
Mhm. Mhm.
won't, but is that a bet? So women who get this, if they don't want to be end up alone, because the man that they qualify for, she's not qualifying with them,
Right.
right? Bring it down. And right. So find good men out there who
So
make less
date
money.
lower.
The lower the standards of that hypergamy instinct. You have to like
Okay.
override it. And what they do from there is if they make more money, they don't want to emasculate him, because then what happens when a woman makes more money, but it's on both sides. Whoever makes more money tends to want to control everything. So again,
Exactly.
if he's a
Who?
real man, if he's a real man, he won't let you control him. It won't work.
Right.
But if you kind of unplug from that whole mechanism, again, it's instinctual, so it's a little bit
Mhm.
hard.
Mhm.
But if you're awake, you pay attention, you could do it. I've had clients that did it. She makes $30,000 more than he does, right? But he's a good man. He's steady. He provides, right? So instead of emasculating him with "I make more money, so I decide where we live," I make more, right?
Mhm.
None of that stuff. They have a partnership,
Right.
right, where they negotiate everything, and her extra money goes into investments for both
Okay.
of them.
I
So
like
there's
that.
no imbalance of power, right? She sees that as a bonus for their future.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they share everything. Her extra goes for their future.
Okay.
There's no power struggle here. There's no I'm in charge because I make more money, and she understands he's a good man and he makes less money. So
Mhm.
what?
Yeah,
But
because I've always said he who has the money has the power.
that's usually what happens. And then we have couples where she started make, he was driving everything until she ended up with this promotion or whatever.
Mhm.
She does ends up now making more money and she flips the script. I'm in charge now. It's like, no, what the hell? What happened to our relationship? What do you mean? Like that money?
Sit
What do you
down,
mean?
bitch.
What the
You my
fuck?
bitch now.
Like I said, any self-respecting man, that won't work, right? So
Yeah, it
the
really
smart way
would.
to do it, there's another way to do this. But if you let instinct take you over, which is kind of right there, you may destroy perfectly good
This
relationship,
brings
or unable to build something that's sustainable, that's realistic.
this brings me to something else, and I know I said one of two questions, but what about Mr. Moms?
Those are boys. They don't want to work. They
Okay.
want to be taken care of. They want to stay home. They want to be passive. They want you to work. Go, girl, boss babe. I'll sit here and I'll clean and dust. Nothing. He won't do it right, but
Right, I
he can't do it right. He doesn't care. He's not a girl, right? He doesn't care. He doesn't see what you see. He's unaware what you say. Whatever. So he won't do it right, and you'll
That's
resent the
what
hell out of it. That's a boy. That's not a man. Don't do this. Man,
a
don't do this.
woman would never respect a man that's at home
That's what I'm
taking
saying.
care of
But
kids.
get
And I've
right.
said this, but women
Yeah.
disagree with me all the time. And
Well,
I'm like,
well, because they want to be boss babes and they don't know yet what it's costing them. But I'm telling you, the statistics now in the United States is 17% of households are run by men now. 17%.
that's
So there's a bunch of there's a bunch of boys with no balls, dealing with boss babes who become their mother. You know the worst thing about this, by the way, I'm going to say this. It's always the same story. It's the ladies, pay attention. I'm trying to love you here. I'm not being an ass on purpose for fun. Everything I'm
teach
telling
him,
you, I'm
Andre.
teaching you, and I'm trying to wake you up to a reality that nobody talks about or thinks about per our ridiculous culture. But if you end up with a boy and you got to marry a boy and he's going to encourage you to go girl, get that promotion, and they love 50-50, those boys, because they don't want to pay, they don't want responsibility, or at least half of them, right? Like they just push their wives into work and make money because it makes their life more comfortable, blah blah blah, right? When you become his mother, right, you're the one who makes money, you're the one in charge, you're the one that, right, you become his mother. right? So sexuality goes out the window within a year because nobody wants to have sex with their mother. No one, no one. But these guys are comfortable in that, so they'll play the game because they're
Mhm.
comfortable,
Mhm.
right? It'll last 5 years sometimes maximum, right? Because you lose respect for him, and he's always trying, but he never gets there, right? Because women will give you a chance. He just needs to finish his school. He just need to fun.
Mhm.
He just needs to,
Mhm.
like, read an app. He's just that nurturing part that's ridiculous because he goes on steroids when you're masculine woman. So
Mhm.
you kind of baby man. He says he's gonna change. He's gonna get. He doesn't. He doesn't care. He's taking advantage. He's comfortable. But get this. So when he falls apart, this is always the same story. And I'm sorry, it's really ugly. These are boys, not man, by the way, right? When you finally dump them a year, 2 year, 5 years later, you find out they had an affair and a girlfriend on the side the whole time. He's not sleeping with you. He's
Mhm.
not because he can't sleep with you. You're his mom.
Mhm.
You see it? So now it's
Mhm.
double insult, right? You're wasting all 5 years of your life, and this whole time he was having sex with somebody else and not you.
I actually went to jail for that for a few hours. So, number two,
You beat the hell out of him.
me and my brother beat him and her in a restaurant.
But it says a lot more about you than it says about him. I
Yeah,
want to say,
he
right?
was doing what he knew to do.
He does. That's what they do instinctively, because men always want to have sex, but they don't have sex with their mothers, so they have sex with somebody on the side.
I
But
agree
they're not
with
going to tell
you.
you this. They want you to keep paying because they want to be comfortable. These are the toxic ones,
Yep,
by the way. That's not
I
men. This is
agree.
boys. These are the
I agree.
toxic ones. So the more you get stuck in your masculinities, the more you're going to experience that. I hate to say, just trying
You
to
know,
help you here.
so
Wake up,
woo,
wake up.
I
What?
learned. I
Just
learned.
saying. Yeah, but some women. What I find sad is some ladies. You know, from what I gathered, women can only go through about 5 heartbreaks until they give up, and then they
You
can't
know
trust
what?
themselves. They can't trust their hearts, and they become cat women.
You know
It's-
what's crazy, Andre?
mm,
Like, as bad as I've had it in the relationship space, I would always say there's great men out there, and
ah,
one day I'm going to have one.
that's what saved you. If
Like,
we
I
really,
could,
if you believe they're all toxic, dangerous, and you can't trust them, you're done.
yeah, I could not believe that there weren't great men out there. My
Like,
dad is great. So
well,
I could not
and here it
believe
goes
that.
again. Back to childhood. Childhood
Yeah.
beliefs, and then whatever you have in your head. If you think you're not lovable and men are toxic and dangerous, you're going to go and prove that all day long, and hopefully become a client of mine midlife, because there's a way out of that. But
Hmm.
if you don't get off of it, right, and if you're done, you're done. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
had that voice in your head that says, I know there's a good one. That's all you need.
Well, even my belief in God, like, God, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I
You
mean,
know what I'm
whatever.
saying?
But that becomes a reality that you could create. If you think
Yeah.
they're all dogs, it's never
That's
gonna
what
happen.
you get.
That's what you get. Period. That's
So
what our brains does. That's what our
so
brain
look,
does.
I know you have a gift for my listening
I
audience.
do.
So
I
do
do.
you want to do the gift first, or do you want to tell people where to find you?
Well, they kind of go together.
Okay, let's
All
do
right. So
it.
all right. So we talked about this a bit in the beginning. I do a lot of podcasting because my job, my God mission, is to spread this to the masses. There is
Yes.
hope, ladies. There's hope, gentlemen. Right? Everyone's hurt. Everybody's lonely because we flipped the script on culture, and it doesn't work. It should work. Right?
Yes.
Feminism, equality, 50-50. That should all make things more of a even playing field. It should work better. It works for business and money. It doesn't work for relationship. It's a kiss of death. So that has to be reframed. So that's my God mission. The calling is to make that nationwide movement, Oprah big, like
Yes.
teach the
Yes.
masses, right? So that's why I do a lot of podcasts. I do 3 or 4 a week just to keep sending the waves of there's a
Yes.
way, there is hope. There's a way, there is hope. Handle your shit. Come find somebody like me. Come find me, whatever, and get your stuff handle and learn. Anyway, so I notice though, as I do podcasts 3 or 4 times a week, there's 2 types of listeners that I notice, which is interesting. And your listeners will self qualify them; they'll qualify themselves in what I'm saying. So there's listeners. First type typically are listeners who are kind of like, I don't know how this is working. The masculine, feminist. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. They're looking for information. They're starting to poke around.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Okay, so I call those information seekers, right? So I have a gift for you, information seekers.
Okay,
It's
nice.
and it's something. It's called this one's for the ladies. It's called the five feminine qualities masculine men find absolutely irresistible. This is written by man, my work with man, and this is what men say. Not me, men. Good men, solid men, not boys, men. This is the five qualities that they resonate and um, adore in women that pulls them into providing, protecting, cherishing. Man, so I
Love.
sell this on my website. It's 30 pages. It's 30 pages. It's a workbook, so you have notes to take and you have to fill it in. It's excellent, free for your listeners. So if you're an
Oh,
information seeker, right, you go to my email. I'll send you directly to my direct email. If you go to Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail, ANDRE coaching, COACHING, number one at Gmail, and in the subject box, just write Irresistible Book. I will send you a copy of the book for free. Gift for the listeners. And you can also ask me questions on there. Tell me I'm full of crap on whatever I said here. Like, just challenge me because I can back it all up. Tell me your troubles, whatever, but you can have a book for free. So the second type listeners that I notice are person like you and me, right? Action taker. What? What? I need to learn this. What? Right? It resonated. Wait a second. Wait, say more, right? So action takers, right?
uh-huh.
There's a temperament in that. So there's the other type of listeners are action takers. So if you're an action taker, right, you want to step in, get challenged, roll it around. Andre Coaching One at Gmail, and in the subject box, write talk now. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link to my calendar. You could find an hour that's open that works for you and me. Click on it, right? And we're gonna do it on a one-on-one call like you and I right now for about an hour and 10, right? And we'll dig into your past. With the I'm s- I'm so quick at this. In 15 to 20 minutes, we actually would decode what happened to you as a child. We'll point directly to where the wheels came off and where you made a decision about yourself, the world, life, and people that is driving
Yeah.
you today. So my clients go from what's wrong with me, always the same result, always the same bad guys, always the same bad crazy women, right?
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
you. Look, we actually decode it. And now, so when you know that it's not your fault, that you're not broken, you're just a
Yeah.
product of your past and your shitty family. It's always that. You weren't loved right. It's not your fault. You're
Yes.
traumatized. Now that we know what happened, we could fix it. That's my work. And then we talk about what's the dream life? Family, children, long term companionship. Like, what's the dream? But in that call, like, we go right across the whole thing. And then you have options to invest with me. Action takers take action. So there's five
Yes.
different ways to get invested: small, medium, large, whatever. But yeah, 100 Coaching One, talk now and let's have a conversation. And even for people who don't continue or do the work, right? That call often is life changing because it liberates them for thinking there's something wrong with them.
I love that. And
Yeah,
you said something very important, Andre. You said do the work.
you have to. You did it. I did it. That's the
Oh,
only
I
way.
had to. I
But
had
that's
to. I
the
was
only way to get.
committed.
Yeah, that's the only way to get to the life you were born to live, not the trauma
Yes.
of your stupid family.
I actually had a therapist and a life coach simultaneously for those
Yep,
8 years.
yep.
Mm.
I have a client, a male client, who, get this, talk about, some people should be dead and they're so resilient. Like they just push
I'm
through their
one.
crap. Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
But him, like, a level I can't imagine. He was both um, physically abused and
Mhm.
sexually abused by both his parents.
Wow. I'm
Imagine
sorry.
that
I'm
as a
sorry.
boy, right? So he should be in a ditch somewhere with a needle in his arm, dead. You know what I mean? He should be dead. Like, these are the things that the two people who are supposed to protect you, brutalize you and sexualize you, right? He used to beat
Yeah.
her up, saying you're too much like your mom. She used to beat him up, saying you're too much like your dad. And I don't know how
Yeah.
sexuality got in. Crazy shit, right? He should be dead. But
Yep.
his spirit refuses to lie
Mhm.
down. This is you.
Resist.
This is
Yeah.
me. This is the doers, right? Like, his spirits. And he said to me, I refuse to let my past ruin the life I'm supposed to have. I refuse to let that be my story. I fucking refused to lay
Yeah.
down. Right.
Yes.
So at one point, he had me as a coach. He had a therapist, just like you, and he was part of two mentoring group with men, and jumped
Love.
into one of mine as well. This is what he did to get his shit together. And today, he's productive, he's healthy, he makes
Wow.
money he couldn't before.
Yay.
It just, yeah, but that's, he did his work, right? And
Yes.
there's always going to have these challenges of this ridiculous past, but he could disconnect from it, and slowly all that gets fuzzed away as he's becoming the man he was born to be.
I love.
That that is why I get up in the morning. That's all I want to do.
I know that's right. I know it. So, is
Ah,
there or do you have any social media handles where
I'm
people can
all, yeah,
follow?
I'm gonna send you those links if you post
Okay.
those. My website is projectequinox.net. And so all I do a lot of podcasting. They're all posted on there on page 6, I think. This is what the calendar is. If you want to, if you want to jump in, I have blog, I have articles, I have my YouTube is connected to it. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, uh, all of them, LinkedIn, I'm on all of them. But I'll send you all those links so you could post
Okay.
them. You
Thank
look
you.
under Project Equinox and or my name, Andre Peredis, because
Okay.
TikTok I'm on Andre Peredis, Instagram is Project Equinox. So if you
Okay.
Google my name, you'll find all of it. But
Okay.
and if you listeners, if you want both give, I'll give you both give. Ask for both. I don't care.
Yeah.
And email me with whatever troubles you have, and tell me I'm full of shit, and I'll clean it up for you.
Oh, I
Whatever it
love
is.
that, Andre. And I want to say thank you, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you for being so super amazing and adding so much value um, to the listening audience, but even to me. I want to say thank you.
Nice.
And
Thanks.
when I'm in
Thanks.
California next, I'm going
Yeah.
to
You
have
better. You better.
lunch or dinner
You
with you and
you
your wife. Yes,
you
yes, your
better. Look at my
children.
head. Look at my head. You better.
Yes.
You better. And I want to thank you because you're helping me be a disruptor and spread this to the masses, right? Because I call it a disruption of what's out
Yes,
there that's not working. So thank you for helping me spread the waves of hope. And there is hope. There is a way to do. There's a modern way to do classical relationships that last. There's a modern way. It's not going back to the 50s. It's not
yes,
dumbing it down for you, right? It's none of that. It's understanding the dance of relationship with men and women, and how
yes,
to talk about it, negotiate it respectfully, get your wants and needs met on both sides respectfully, like adults, as opposed to game playing children. It's easy. People do it. Like my clients, my favorite part is they on the other side of the program. They're like, "Oh my god, I get it. It's so like it's so obvious. It's so much easier to ever imagine, right? Because
yes,
nobody ever taught them. But when you know this stuff, right? Instinctive on men and women and how we function and how we communicate
yes.
respectfully. It's just everything is easier. And
I-
all of a sudden, as a woman, you can relax and be vulnerable and let a man take it because you will
And
if
you
you let
know
him.
what? And it feels good.
Well,
Women
it
don't
lines.
understand. It
I
feels
know.
good.
And from that place, you're relaxed, you de-stress, you get to shine, you're warm, you're radiant, all the stuff that pulls
Get
us
to
around.
spend their money.
All of that. What's the problem? So what's the why are we fighting this, ladies? Why are we fighting this?
I
Well,
don't even
they
know.
they ain't no good men out there. No, those are the boys. So you
And
overcalibrated.
and you know what? And you also get to feel loved. And that's the most important part and valued
Absolutely.
as an individual.
Yep. Well, get this. Are you ready? I'm gonna give you another bomb.
Yeah, please.
So we both want to be loved and respected, right? This, when you ask somebody, would you rather be loved? I want both. We all want both. We want to be respected, except they occur backwards for men and women.
Hmm,
So
hmm.
get this, ladies. You got to understand in this statement a whole lot of what's not working, or it's not why it's not working in your past. If you don't respect a man first, he can never cherish you. You see it? The same way that if a woman doesn't feel cherished by a man, she can't respect him. So we need both. But
Yes.
ladies, if you don't respect a man, you talk shit, men are like whatever, they can't fall in love with you. They can't love you. If you don't respect a man, he can't love you. If you don't feel love, you can't respect them. So it's an open channel. It's a flow. It's a spiral up when you get it, right? But the idea that he needs to prove himself before I respect him, any normal male will flip you off. Like, that's not how it works.
Right.
Men would rather go without love than without respect. For us, love is respect. For you ladies, love is everything. But when you feel love, you can respect us. You see the
Yeah.
dance? So it's beautifully simple when we understand it, but nobody understands, nobody knows, nobody teaches it. Anyway, Oprah Big. Let's go Oprah Big with this stuff.
I
Can we?
I think that we make it complicated.
Well, we don't understand each other, so we point the finger with the things that don't work. So if you feel
Right.
bad because something I said, it's my fault. So now you're putting the finger in my face. And instead of investigating, is that what you meant? This is what I felt when you said that. Is that what you meant? Because it felt like this. Oh,
Right.
and often you get a, that's not it at all. That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. That's not where it's coming from.
Mhm.
Right. And, or, I'm so sorry. You're right. I misspoke or I forgot. So, so we get an apology or an explanation. Well, you have to go get it. But if we're just reactive, we think you're crazy, and you think we're shallow and disconnected and selfish.
Right.
That's where we start at, not understanding each other. So learning all that opens the channels to communication, love, dynamics. Learning how to dance and build a family. Like, beat that.
And it's a beautiful dance behind you with you and
Thank
your
you,
wife. So I
thank
love
you.
it.
I know, but that's how we met. Right? She was one of my students, so we met
Okay.
dancing. And to this day, on Sundays, tomorrow, we take a dance class privately that I hired this girl to teach us. I can't teach her the girl part, so I hired this girl, a professional, to teach us
Okay.
new tricks and her the girl part that I can't teach her.
I love
And
it.
after that, we go for a date. So we
Oh,
we
how
date
beautiful.
every Sunday. But I mean, that's how you sustain a relationship,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
then
Yes.
we got together dancing, and we still dance today. That's how we connect. That's how we stay us.
That's beautiful.
It's
Well,
it's very simple though. You see how
yeah,
simple
it
it
is
is?
simple.
It's
It
not it's not
is.
it's not brain surgery.
We make it complicated.
I know. You want your way, I want my way. We collide in the middle, we push, we lean, we blame each other. No, that's what doesn't work. Well, it's it's not trying to we try to make people act like us, do like us, right? Not understanding you have a different machine across from you.
Yes.
Right? So instead of trying to change the person either way, right? Embrace your differences, and this is when you can dance. Come together.
It's beautiful.
It's
I love
beautiful.
it.
It is simple. I'm telling you, it's freaking simple. It's
It
just that
really is.
that's not what we're not taught any of that stuff.
It really is.
We're taught
But
separation and conflict in
hmm
relationships.
yeah, and we've seen most of us have seen that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what has been
Yeah.
modeled, right?
Yep.
So
That's
that's
what's
what's not
been
working.
not love. So I
Amen.
so appreciate you. Amen.
Amen. Seriously.
Again, thank you,
Oh,
thank you, thank
you're very welcome. Thank you for the
you.
opportunity again to spread the word, and whoever
Absolutely,
we don't know,
absolutely.
who's listening, who needed to hear all this, to pull the
We really
trigger,
don't.
right? So
Thank you for listening to 50 Shades of Blue podcast. We hope you found it informative, enjoyable, and entertaining. If you have any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on Instagram at 50 Shades of Blue podcast. Be sure to like and share.